It's been a while since we did one of those anniversary types of videos. Uh, we were talking about some box office flops, some really bad ones, but sometimes there is an occasional good or even excellent film that unfortunately goes through that phase as well. And I can't really think of a bigger example than The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, it's like one of the best films ever made. So
Yeah, it's
it's
like I think in that particular year it was competing against Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, which are makes sense, honestly, what you think about it.
yeah, so it's so weird. It's like I've actually never seen the Pulp Fiction. I just seen like Shawshank like once with my dad like on Netflix. What like several years ago, and it's like, oh, this is amazing. And then I'm just gonna rewatch it. Like uh, just last week, I was like, oh my god, this is as good as I remember it being, or might even
Yeah.
be better.
Mm. Oh, it's also your good friend, based off of Stephen King's. It's an adaptation of Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King of 1982. The film came out in 1994, which makes it celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. Um, yeah, stars Tim Robbins as a banker, Andy Dufresne, who is sentenced to life in Shawshank Redemption Penitentiary for the murders of his wife and her lover, despite his claim of innocence. Over the years, he makes friends with a lot of prisoners, including the most well-known Morgan Freeman as Red Redding, Ellis Red Redding. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, it's just basically how they go about themselves in the prison, but like there's more to it than just that.
I mean, it's a
Uh,
lot about humanity and how system works and how like actually it's a lot of, like about society and stuff. I mean, the most surprising thing is like this is by Stephen King. I was like, if you ask me to guess the author, I was like, I don't know. It was like,
yeah,
and then it just told me it's like Stephen King. I was like, really? That guy who made a lot of weird shit.
yeah. Especially in those times in particular, he used to have like a lot of like not just like those creepy horror, but like or supernatural horror. Like he's also had a lot of psychological horror, a lot of like things of that nature. I think that's what made Stephen King such like a interesting icon for so long, is because like he's able to tackle different aspects of horror, things that you might think of as things that you might not even think about. Um, yeah, I mean, he's lost his sauce for a while now, but
No, fuck that. This guy is fucking nuts. It's like if you ask me, it was like, what is this guy even doing? I don't know, man. He just got a bunch of rants up a lot of like takes about how his what's it called, Doctor Sleep adaptation is like really good for some reason, and he hates The Shining, which is fine. And you just don't call Doctor Sleep like really faithful and shit. I was like, that's not true.
yeah, yeah. So this is based off of so basically the so this is the original book is it's not really like a book. It's like it's a short story in a book that has like four different stories in it. Yeah, the book itself is called Different Seasons. And then there's like there's four different books, like four different short stories like within it. And like there are like another iconic classic movie in 1986, the Stand By Me. That's another one of them in the four series book as well, along with Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. Um, though Rita Hayworth is not in the actual title of the movie, but you actually do get to see her poster in the movie, so that was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, um, I'll occasionally like talk about the book itself. I mean, but to be honest though, like the book is actually it's a short story, so like it really is everything you got from the story is in the movie as well. There's obviously a few tweaks here and there as expected, but still really really good.
True.
Despite that,
I mean, I don't know, man, because I think Stephen King doesn't really have the best writing sometimes. I mean, who the fuck put a child orgy scene in it?
yeah, that was the cocaine LSD years, I guess.
Hey, isn't that starts as well, right? Right? No idea.
Yeah. So how do you want to go about this?
Let's see my scene.
Yeah. So basically, we start off in Maine, state of Maine, where the story is pretty much essentially told in the perspective of Red, again by the legend Morgan Freeman. Um. So basically, so it's the same as the book as well in that point of view. So the book is told in Red's point of view the entire time. So there are some instances like where you can kind of wonder, is the information completely relayed that is completely accurate to what happened, or is it all coming from Red's point of view? Things like that. So it is something that you do notice in the film as well, which I do appreciate. But obviously with the visual medium, that also helps as well. But yeah, basically in
1990s, exactly.
no, it's longer. It's like before the World War.
Jesus.
Oh, it's 1948. That's where Andy is like his trial is happening. Um, where
Uh,
he's on trial for the murder of his wife and her golfer boyfriend.
so,
Um,
so basically, the readers, Andy, it's like having drunk that and she figure out that his wife is cheating at him with another guy, and he actually planted a gun to actually shoot them, but he didn't, and then the implication is that he actually did commit to it, but in the trial he denies that he kills her.
yeah. The thing is, like, everything seems to line up. There's a bunch of bullets, casings. There's a bunch of like things that really ties him to it, but he insists that he didn't kill her or kill them. Uh, but
Of course, here's the thing: it's just like there's no way anyone would be like, yeah, this guy is not a killer. So you have the gun, you have the fingerprints, you literally came to that person's house. You know that your fucking wife is cheating on you, and that's why.
yeah, yeah. And then he says conveniently, "Oh, it's such a coincidence that the gun is missing. You said it was in the river. We combed the river and we didn't find any gun there. Yeah, just it's gone, isn't it? Uh, yeah. So there's no saving for Andy, and that results in him going to Shawshank for
Yeah.
imprisonment for life. Um, so we also get like a few. So of course, like Andy is trying to say he's innocent and all that stuff, and but there's just too many things that points that he clearly isn't. But it is something that will come back later, so keep that in mind. Um,
Oh, so
uh-huh.
the next scene is just Rat, in the room, just like bargain to his release.
Yeah, so this happens a few times as well. Basically, every time like a session is over, like every 10 years, essentially, uh, they get asked, "How do you feel?" Oh, I'm definitely rehabilitated. I feel really good. I've learned my lesson. I feel like I can go back to society. And then the next shot is the picture and the rejected stamp. And everybody everybody knows in the Shawshank. Everybody knows that, like, yeah, you just go there, you pretend like gonna leave, or be so happy you're gonna leave, and you're not gonna leave. You're gonna be here for life.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, in this scene, you just get the fact that Rat is trying to just pretending the fact that he's, he's sorry. He's just saying a bunch of like, anyone can tell that it is a fucking lie. It's just desperation, and those judges can clearly see it that okay, yeah, he's pretending and shit, so he's gonna reject him. It's a lot of easy read in the scene.
Yeah, but then you also see like the people's relationship, like even that's stuff that we kind of learn later. People's relationship to Shawshank, like especially as a prisoner, and like what do you get to do in there, and like the benefits that there are just being in prison and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll get to that. But so you kind of see like a little bit of the day in Shawshank through the Red's point of view, and then you see like the new inmates coming in, which includes Andy, and they essentially just so Red and a couple of the other prisoners there are kind of having their bets of who's going to be the one to cry first. So they're all making their bets, and
I mean,
Red. Mhm.
do you just want to say that this movie is actually in Red's perspective? You get a lot of like Red inner monologue that's like, oh, by the way,
Yes,
I'm the guy who can get you anything, and you can get the idea that they use like cigarettes as like bargaining chip for when it comes to like cash and stuff.
right.
And yeah, so one day he just realized that a bunch of prisoners just came in, and one of them is Andy, and he in early 1947 for murdering his wife on like on the outside of a what's it called, like a golf club or something like this. Yeah, I
Like
never
at a
gone to
golf club. Yeah,
yeah, I never been to that before, so there's a lot of specific
it's
names for
for rich people basically.
that. Basic, yeah.
But yeah, basically the bet was just like so they bet cigarettes. The bet is basically like who's going to be the first one to like break, and everybody's making their picks. But Red puts his money on. He puts all of his money for Andy to break first, which was completely incorrect. But they didn't know at the time. Andy himself, you can see from everybody else's perspective, like the other prisoners are just not happy to be there, and Andy's not happy to be there either. But you can see everybody's body language, like they're angry or upset or sad or
And
mad. But Andy's just completely emotionless.
and it's more like he's also observing a lot of things that's surrounding him. He's just laying his head low, not to do anything and just looking around.
Hmm.
And the first thing about like Red, it's like he observes a lot of people, and in his perspective, you just like, oh, the first thing I noticed him, it's like I didn't lay an eye on him because he thinks he's the first to break, and that's the first impression of that person. And then you got like some prison gambling, which is actually world building for this prison. That actually even like there's like corruption in this system, and we use cigarettes to gamble and stuff. It's like it's a lot of work building hands, and you actually get a lot when it comes to like what Red feels at Andy. And here's the other thing though, other prisoners actually think that Red will be wrong because Andy seems like the one of the most calm person, and he suggests one of the prisoners suggests that the fat guy will be one breaks, and he's actually right.
Yeah, obviously it should have been obvious too, but like if you just take a look at him, but that's just not too much, not too much. But yeah, so they kind of go through. So you have like they see the warden, and they he says he's like a religious guy. They're gonna learn how to be well behaved and how to be good Samaritans one day, and all that. So they so they basically do the process of the cleaning, the strip search, all that. People are trying to give the fresh meat, the new fish, a hard time because that's kind of how it works in prison. Uh, Andy just doesn't react to anybody. Um, and as we said, like the fat guy, he does end up crying, which brings in the one of the head cops, which is played by
Mr.
Clance,
Krabs.
yeah,
Yeah.
Salvatore Moroni, one might
Uh,
say.
yeah, actually there's a lot of reading in this scene because like Mr. Krabs is actually like the one of the he's actually one of the cops in here, and he is like, and when one of the prisoners is like, oh, and he's like, oh, do you have any questions? You guys are fucking useless, worthless shitheads now.
When do we
And so
eat? And he eats the stomach, and the warden doesn't say anything, so it's clearly allowed for the cops to beat up the prisoners like that.
yeah, pretty much, and and the warden was like actually just memorizing a lot of Bibles and shit. Just like I'm the
Mhm.
warden. I hope you actually be loyalty to the god, and that's what he believes in. Even though that, and then it's clear that he uses this as a disguise and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah. So I guess I'll talk about some change, like some differences from the book later, particularly about the warden in particular, but that's not really important for right now. Um, but yeah, so Mr. Krabs, he because the fat guy keeps like crying and whining and all that stuff. Everybody's making loud noise because they're encouraging that. Uh, and because of that, he opens the cell and starts beating the crap out of the fat guy to the point where he's too injured that he can't get up. And then he's sent to the wing. And then it's the next day. Well, first, before we learn what happens to the fat guy, basically, bless you. Basically, Red is giving up all of his cigarettes and a lot of them because they lost a bet about who's going to break first. Yeah, and
Yeah,
some of them do a comment to Red, like, "Wow, you're completely off," and it was not even close to breaking. Um, yeah, it is what it is. He lost me 2 packs of cigarettes that day, kind of a thing.
I mean it's just a lot of gambling, and then you just get a lot of like how system works here. It's like every prisoners are allowed to do shit, and even the cops allow them to do shit as long as they don't disrupt them. That's basically how the law system works in this prison. You just get a lot of sense, and the police just not unwilling to are just willing to do anything. Uh, and the
yeah,
fact, and it's actually a lot also characterization for the other person who bet for the fat guy. So it's like it's clear he didn't intend to. He just want to win. He didn't intend him to just get killed. And then you
yes,
just you just get the idea. And then here's the other thing about the dialogues, because he's actually asking the guy who does the hospital shit in the prison. It's and then and then he's the one refused that. Oh, by the way, he died because no doctors work at night. So it's a lot. And then you
right.
just get a sense that
And
prisoners
then
actually works in here in this place in different areas. It's like it's a lot of like subtext that you didn't realize until you gave it a second watch.
and then the follow up to that too is like the only person who wanted to know more was Andy because this is the first time he spoke at all, saying what was his name. The guy who was killed, what was his name? And the other one in the group, he's like, who gives a shit? He's dead. That's all that matters. Um, so you know, it shows that even though Andy is like recluse and stays to himself, he's still gonna open out to somebody else's injustice, which will become relevant.
And even
But you can
everyone
also see that post like after how he insists that he's innocent and all that stuff. So yeah, that kind of tracks with like the theme of his character. which is something now that he's like started speaking out. Red kind of inquires about like, what are you here for? Well, actually, no, that was out in the yard.
Next scene,
Basically,
it's
mhm.
yeah, it's a lot of details in one scene. So it's like I want to break down every single sentence if I can. It's like so, and then there's a lot of scenes that, and then you just got a lot of emotion. Just like everyone just doesn't want to realize that until because they all felt bad about it. And remember, Red is the last one to look at Andy as he looks away. So he just realized that he's the one of the most compassionate one of all of them. Remember, there's like the old guy as well. Oh, the old guy asked Andy, "Hey, do you want? Can you give me the bug?" Which the interpret
Brooks, yeah.
Brooks. Brooks was like, and this scene is initially we're like, oh, this is an old crazy man. No, and then you just see him feed the worm to the bird inside, like not a bird, a crow.
A
And
baby crow. It's not
yeah,
strong enough to fly yet.
yeah, and he said, oh, I want to help this crow. I want to save this crow, even though he's not and blah blah blah. And that's why, and that's how it does, and that's how it does. And it's just instantly characterized this guy as the old guy as a caring person who cares about the lives of other people, who cares about other people, or the thing that
Yeah, and
their
that crow
feelings
becomes
matter.
like the crow becomes symbolism later as well.
Yeah, and
Uh,
even though and he's actually risking and remember he's in a Shawshank, so he's actually risking that and to help a bird in need.
mm, mm. Yeah. Uh, so the film utilizes a few montages throughout. Uh, Obviously because like they have the advantage of using Red's inner monologue, so that kind of helps with the B-roll montaging for stuff. So basically, he's just talking about how Andy essentially kept going about his day in prison, not saying a word or really to anybody.
Yeah,
You can see occasionally there are some prisoners giving him a hard time, but he really is not reacting to anybody. And that becomes important in a second. But before that, then he talks about how then there's this one day where he came up to me
yeah. Oh,
and started talking a lot. And basically, they're out in the yard, basically mining for rocks. And Andy, he heard about Red and his ability to
get stuff.
get contraband, basically. Um, so he's asking, he would like to have a rock hammer
I
and
mean,
a large poster of Rita Hayworth.
the first thing that Andy said is like, oh, for the first thing Red said is, what do you do? And and Andy was like, oh, I'm innocent. So, and Red was
And
like,
we're all
actually, Red did
innocent.
say, yeah, we're all, and then Red just tells asks the other guy, hey, what did you do? And the other guy was like, oh, I'm innocent. The lawyer fucked me over. Basically, what it means is that no one here believes that they're innocent. It's like it's also like characterizing like Red's worldview that he doesn't believe that what he did is wrong and stuff. Even though to a degree that he feels bad about it.
Yeah, this is kind of so. This is like, I guess this could be something I could mention from the book in particular because like Red, for example. So Red in particular, the reason why he was in jail, and the movie never explains it in depth. He does say that like everybody's in the prison says that I'm innocent except for Red himself. Red doesn't feel like he's innocent, and that's kind of important to identify in the book. Red is in prison because he had this like basically this issue with his wife in terms of like how the money is going to handle. So his solution was to possibly like to cut the brakes of his wife's car so she dies, and then he can collect the money and not have to worry about the issue that's going to happen. But apparently, that same day that he cut the car brakes is like there was also his wife's friend and her baby in the car too. So he's in prison for killing 2 women and a baby. So that's why he was in jail for life in the book. So my only point to say that is because like it just makes you, because like if that were to happen, you can't really imagine Morgan Freeman, the lovable guy, despite a flawed person, would do something like that. I was just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, to be fair, I think the movie didn't say anything about what he did in the past, but it's like at the same time
Yeah,
you can get the idea that it doesn't really matter for this
yeah,
story
yeah,
to work.
yeah.
It's a lot of things. Uh,
Yeah. So,
and it's like and Andy said so Andy wanted pickaxe and he said and he this is what he said. So I'm a rock hound. At least I was in my old life. I'd like to be again on a limited basis. And so basically he just like he loves to collect rocks and he's actually want to try to do something in this prison that will actually fill his life with some purpose and it's like gain his passion back.
and like Red is saying, because he doesn't know what it looks like, but he assumes that like having some kind of hammer could be used to,
Crack his skull.
to break out of prison and all that stuff. And it's a big risk because that kind of stuff would, if he gets caught and Red gets caught, then he can't do anything ever again. But
Yeah,
like
and
Andy's like, you don't have to worry about that because if you look at the hammer, once you get the hammer, it's like it's not like there's no way I'd be able to get out of there.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's and then it's like he said, because they joke around like, oh, you gotta kill someone with that, and he's like, no, I have no enemies, and Red was like, no, you will, especially the sisters who. Remember, there's a bath scene that he actually harasses him.
That
I was like,
happens afterwards. After that,
uh,
yeah.
before that, there's a scene that
Before.
he's at, yeah, before that,
I know they reference like he's playing hard to get. I like that.
yeah, basically that's
I
verbal
don't know if it
harass.
happened before the.
That's
Yeah,
like,
I guess it did.
yeah, and then it's a
But
lot, and then
basically, the grape scene, it happens like a few times over the year, essentially, because it does the film does like go through like a montage
and
in
and
terms
that
of years and stuff like that.
yeah, and it's a lot of words. It's like, okay, Andy said, "Oh, I'm not homosexual," and Red said, "Oh, neither are
Neither.
they. Neither are they. You have to be human first. They don't qualify, which means that they are for Red and other people are one of the better prisoners, and those are actually worse. Which is actually quite insane to think about that those murderers actually the better ones.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's
So. Mhm.
Yeah, and both queers take by force. It's all they want to understand. It's like that. It's a lot of like you just get a lot of like how factions in this system in this prison works. Some people are like to keep their head down and do things behind it. Some people are like a lot more, do things more physical and just do want to like just get everything by just bullying the weaker ones. It's like you just get a lot of world building in these few sentences alone. Uh, and Red answered with, "If I were you, I would grow my ass in the back of my head, telling him to just like, oh, be careful, because they will absolutely keep attacking you." So it is a lot of great dialogues that tells you a lot about the world and Red and Andy's character.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. So these kinds of things happen over the course of the film. Uh, there's like a major change that gets Boggs to stop doing what he did to Andy, but that's like towards the middle of the film. Um, you kind of see like everybody else's individual relationships with Andy throughout the movie. Like, kind of see how do people react to him and like things like he does for other people. I mean, the biggest example is the rooftop scene where they're tarring, but I'm pretty sure that's not next either.
I have the movie played here, by the way, so I know everything they said. So basically Red said, oh, he wants, I guess you want to escape a tunnel under the wall, maybe. And it's like, and then Andy just laughs, and Red just like laughs like, oh, what's funny? Andy was like, oh, you'll see after you found it.
Once you see
And
what the hammer looks like.
and then you just get a lot of like how deals work in this prison. $7 in any rock and gem store. But because this is more risky, I'll take 10%. But because this is more risky, I'll take 10. And he was like, no, that's a waste of money. And then because like folks around this shop love surprise inspections. If they find you, you're gonna lose it. So basically, just tells him the cops here will absolutely search around you without you noticing. So you have to be really careful about it. There's a lot of dialogue that's basically Red just looking after Andy despite being sarcastic about it.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's just so good for characterizing both Red as like a caring person who actually looks after other people, despite he's actually also in prison as well. And then Red said, if they do catch you, you don't know me. Mention my name, we never do business again. Not for a shoe stick or a stick of gum. Now you get that. So basically, it's also a dialogue just tells you that, oh, this is how Red do business. It's like if he do not drag him down because he's also just looking after himself. So that he's still trying self-interest despite looking after him. So do not just get him as well. And yeah, and just in this few sentences, you also get like how smart Red is when it comes to doing business, and like he's basically just a person that no one knows like who does business as well.
Yeah. You see more about so you kind of, when their friendship, how it grows like down the line, kind of see like what do they both offer on the table, because Andy has like a lot more book smarts and things of that nature. But yeah, that's something we kind of discussed afterwards. There was a neat little reference where Andy asks like, so why do they call you Red? And he says, well, maybe it's because I'm Irish. And it's actually kind of funny because it's I think it's like one of the few like in universe like addressings to like a swap, because like in the book, Red is like a full like a redheaded like person, so like heavily Irish and all that stuff. So it was just I thought it was a nice thing to like to put that there, despite obviously Morgan Freeman doesn't look like that, but
He's great.
he's Irish. But yeah,
and so you just get a lot of montage like, oh, how does Red does business like. So he just a lot of things just swap a lot of hands, and there's like some corrupt cops in this prison. So and he's willing to offer the deal by just giving him like some cigarettes. And it's like it swapped many hands until it reaches Morgan Freeman. And they clearly use this like everyday duties to trade stuff. It's like it's a lot of good world building, like how much the corruption, how much the cops are corrupted, and the prisoners are willing to make deals with each other out of secrets. It characterizes a lot about this prison and the factions around it. It's actually quite great.
Yeah, it's obviously it's like a well-oiled system. He's been doing this for 40 years. Because yeah, he's been there for a while. Meaning Red. Yeah, so you have things like that. You also have obviously Andy pretty much goes through that situation with the sisters like a few times to the point where it's not really like that. He's fighting back. They fight. Sometimes he wins, sometimes they win, but like it's just it ends up happening for like what 5 6 years is what they were saying. Uh,
And here's the thing. Andy's like Andy never say a word, but he knows that who did that.
yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
remember, Ram made a
mhm.
comment about that you have to take 600 years to dig out of prison with this like pickaxe and stuff, which is like quite a. And then Andy just and then you just this is just a setup, and then and then you just see like a lot of abuses. And so you just realize that Red just like thinks that escaping this prison is like worthless and any it's like worthless anyway. So and just like what the fuck? I'm just gonna live here, yo.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like it is something that you kind of like appreciate at the end of the movie, like especially how it ends for Andy. Uh, but that is something that we kind of have to bring back up once it happens because everything just ties up together very well.
Yeah,
What do you call it? So around, I believe around this time is like where you have
the
uh,
the
the
rooftop
the
scene.
rooftop scene where basically the Shawshank, the warden is just saying that we need to retar the roof. A lot of people are signing up to do it, even though it's like really hot up there. Uh, Red, a lot of his friends, and Andy, they get to go up there as well. They're being supervised by Hadley, again, Mr. Krabs.
And
Uh,
so
and
remember,
basically, Hadley is talking to the other cops about like how he is having this financial issue with uh, with his wife in regards of like basically like he'd like lose a lot of money and he's not getting paid enough from Shawshank to like be able to afford any of that kind of stuff. Um,
and his one of the like your brother died and something like that. So
because
you got
that
yeah.
was the compensation money for that, but it wasn't enough of what he wanted basically. And you know, Andy makes a comment because Andy is a banker, so he understands what exactly is Hadley's issue and how he could solve that. But Hadley first takes it as offense, um, and it
And
gets
then
to the point where basically he's dragging him to the point where he's like hanging off the edge. Everybody's telling Andy to shut up, like Red and them.
and
Uh,
so
he's gonna push him off the edge. Yeah.
and remember Andy just like Andy said, okay, I'm not gonna read all the terms because I have no idea how does the bank terms work. So basically he said, do you trust your wife? And of course Mr. Krabs is just offended because like what the fuck are you talking about, my wife? And just he's just about to push him off the rooftop. Remember, Andy is actually a lot more. It's like really kind of calm. Like even though he's scared, he's like calm about it. He was like, the IRS allow a one-time only gift to your spouse for up to 60,000, no taxes. The IRS can't touch a single dime. You're a smart banker. What killed his wife? This is what Mr. Krabs said. And why the fuck would I trust a smart banker like you? So I can end up in here with you. And then Andy was like, oh, it's illegal. Ask the IRS. They say the same thing, but I feel stupid telling you. It's like just I mean instantly you just get the fact that Andy is literally it's like insulting this guy, even though without actually him realizing it. And he's like, I'm sure you have investigated the matter. He's actually just using the powers to make himself like make himself and another teammate just better with like a few single sentences.
Yeah, the classic. You have all the dices on your table. I'll tell you like what else you need to help you get better, but it's the ball's in your court. I'm just the pawn here.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then yeah,
mhm.
and he said, "Well, it will cost you a lawyer, by the way, if you gotta do this." I have no idea how does this work. Maybe it will make sense if I just Google things in 1949. Does that make any sense? But I'm just gonna be like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna believe the movie for this. So and then he was like, you need a lawyer that would cost more, but I can do corruption tax for you with only very few money to use it. And he'll get you the forms and almost free of charges. And he said, I'll only ask 3 beers a piece for each of my co-workers. And yeah. And he says, I think a man working outdoors feels more like a man. And so basically and then you got Mr. Krabs just think about it, and then the other person just stares at him, and he was like, and they're all impressed. Until like Mr. Krabs just tells them just keep working.
And then it cuts to like a month later, and they're given the beers. Everybody's enjoying it. It's a very hot day. As Red says, we felt like kings, even though it's not the circumstances.
Yeah,
but the big thing though too is like they're enjoying the beers, and Andy's just off to the side alone. So it didn't even none of this really mattered for him. Like he didn't want the beer, and the guy who was basically saying who cares about that fat guy, he was dead. Doesn't matter what his name is. He's the one who tries to give Andy the beer, and he still says no.
And he's like, oh, he's gonna stop drinking beer. And you got a Red perspective. It's like, oh, why the fuck did he do that? And then he said you could argue that he's done it to meet a few friends. He's done it to gain favor for the guards. But he argues that he just wants to feel normal again, even for a short while. You know, he's actually helping people in need.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's like a few things that you see. I would say like this is like one of the bigger turning points in the film in terms of like you see Andy is pretty good at his brain despite pressure. Like in the face of death, he can still talk his way into using the information that he knows with his intelligence, but like also use it to get somebody to consider what he's thinking of, like talking about. He also like can sacrifice his like. I mean, you see it because of the graping scenes before, but he clearly is not. He doesn't really care about his own life in that regards, but he will like do whatever he can for the benefit of others. Like if they're happy, then that's enough for Andy, and I think that's just like what makes him such a great character to kind of follow. Even though obviously, again, the movie and the book are both in the perspective of Red's point of view and description, but like Andy's still like who he's talking about. But yeah, these are just kind of the things that like makes Andy who he is.
And then you're just like, and then you got the scene that Andy just say, by the way, he just want to get a board together. And then Red was like, oh, I'm the right guy, I can get you anything. But Red was like, I want to craft a piece myself. He just wanted one side in the alabaster and the other side in the soapstone. What do you think? And then Red was like, oh, it will take years. And Andy was like, well, I got years. Well, I don't have other rocks. Picking our most limited string in the yard. And so it's just a lot of, and then you just get a lot of perspective that Red is not as long term thinking as like Andy is. Andy is a banker, and Red and other person also just kill people when they're young already. Like they did like some evil things when they're young and naive. And Andy already lived a life of understanding how the system works and how to grow the system. So he's able to just patiently do his things and work his way up, even though people will be like, oh, there's no way, it will take a long time. Another perspective he gets, and because he want to craft something on his own.
And Andy has a basic understanding of science and like life and those things that like you can't really learn from inside the prison for as long as Red has been there.
Yeah, and he
So
and
this
the
kind
fact
of thing. Hmm.
yeah, and the fact that he said that, oh, I don't want you to help me for that because it's like because he's the guy who understands that even though you can work, you can take shortcuts and just get everything. Some things you have to do it yourself in order to make it work, to make it like more worth it and actually change stuff from the inside. And he actually understands that. And then Red was like, "Oh, Andy, Red was like just confused about it, and he's like, "Oh, we're friends, right? We're friends, right?" And he was like, "Yeah. Why did you kill your wife?" And Red was like, "I'm innocent, Red, just like everybody else here." A lot. It's like the line literally just told the reason why Andy said that is because he wants to convince Red that, oh, don't worry, I'm just like the other people. You don't have to look. Don't look me the other way. Just see me as everybody else. Of course, Red was just really scared of him based on just a few sentences from beforehand. And then Red was like, oh. And then Andy was like, "Oh, what the fuck are you? What are you in for?" And then Red was like, "Oh, murder, same as you." And he said, "I'm the only guilty man in Shawshank."
Hmm.
Yeah, so he's still feeling guilty about what he did, and he's trying to help people out and looking after them. And he's actually really concerned about what is Andy doing the entire time. I just want to make sure that he's not like staying offline and just breaking too much of this of the cops and stuff. He knows how to play steady, but Andy wants to play it more risky.
Yeah. So that sort of thing with Hadley was like a big sort of thing that when the next grape scene happens with the sisters, it was like really. So they were watching like a cinema, and Andy was going out. The sisters follow him into the cinema hall, like like where they shine the film for movies, and it was bad to the point where like uh he's saying like this time your mouth is going to open and you're going to swallow, and it's like just bite it off. uh no, you can't do that. It's like, or I'll like I'll like basically whack you in the head. But there's like, so Andy's still using his like general knowledge of basic science, like, well, if you whack me in the head with that in your mouth, like in my mouth, I would have to bite because that's a natural reaction. So
And
he's
then
yeah.
and so he
So the guys, they were like, he never, you know, put anything in his mouth. They just kept beating him, beating him, beating him until to the point where Andy was like near death.
yeah, and Andy actually insulted him for being fucking stupid. That, oh, you don't understand science. Well, know how to read, you moron. But that's what he said, and it causes him to just beat him up instead because he's actually pissed off. And Andy's actually using this to his advantage to beat him up.
Morgan Freeman plays God in a lot of movies.
Actually, I think Morgan Freeman said he only did like 2 movies he's got.
Mm. They tried to make him eternal. I mean, eternity. That didn't happen.
Weird. To be fair, they didn't. They almost got Tony Todd to play like what Dormammu. That didn't happen.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Tony Todd.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Um. Yeah. So because of what happened to Andy, Hadley goes into. Yeah, he also plays God in the Lego movie. Uh, yeah. So basically, what happens is that Hadley goes into Boggs's cell. After everything Andy has done for him, it's kind of returning the favor. Hadley beats the crap out of Boggs, like so bad that he's crippled for life. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So what basically, and then you just read it backwards. Give me a second.
Is that another sneeze?
So basically, okay. So basically, you just realize that in context, Andy is actually allowing them to beat him up, so that because he's actually gaining favor from the cops now, and the cops will naturally just get rid of those sisters in order to maintain Andy to play to get to their favor. Andy is really playing the system to and playing the long game and the system to defeat the sisters forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like
Um,
yeah,
mhm.
there's no explicit dialogues for this. You just get it. You just get it from the context of the film.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I guess like if I for any of those that are interested, one of the differences in the book is that Boggs doesn't get crippled. He gets like he just gets general injury, but and then he gets to still be in the prison, but like he still does leave Andy alone for good, since clearly Hadley's on his Andy's side. Um, but it's not a big thing, you know.
I mean,
But
it's clear that they did that. They did this for a bit more comedic effect here. It this doesn't really change anything.
yeah, it's also like I mean, if you crippled somebody, it's like yeah, I'm not even gonna try and put a finger on uh Andy, which finger is you know how that
Yeah,
works.
and he's transitioned to another prison. So oh well.
Yeah, basically it's like a hospital
Basically,
type of
yeah.
prison kind of thing. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and none of the other sisters they bother Andy ever again. So this is kind of this is kind of like around the time where he gets more in line with the warden, and he, you know, Andy talks to basically. So one of the things that got to happen is that he's been sending letters to the warden and things like that, like, oh, we need to get a library, or we need to improve the library to make it better, things like that.
so but okay, so it's a lot more scenes before that. Beforehand, they're just basically just getting rocks for Andy and stuff like that.
Right, because he was knocked out for a
And
while.
and remember, there's a scene that Andy just like, oh, I want a poster of this really big poster of Rita. Okay, some really hot woman from the 40s,
Rita Hayworth, yeah,
Rita Hayworth, and so he gets
and
it for him.
mhm. And she's like the in the like as I was saying earlier, the book title is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. So
And then
that's your little reference.
and then and then Red just like, oh, put a note for him. It's like, you don't have to pay anything. Just welcome back here. And
Yeah,
just everyone just treat Andy with a lot more respect now.
yeah.
Because
So he hangs up that Rita Hayworth poster over the bedside.
and rem-
Mhm.
yeah, and remember the suggestion of getting rocks is not really Red's idea. It's the person who just accidentally got the fat guy killed. He was like, oh, we own him that much for the beer. Yeah, he's also going through a character arc with just and you just didn't even realize that. And then you pick up you just pick up on it and you just slowly pick up on it.
Well, to be fair, you gotta have a redhead style. You gotta have a brunette, and you got a blonde. Rita Hayworth is there. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So the warden and the cops, they do go into Andy's cell, kind of see like what's going on. He's getting a lot of stuff there. Uh, they even see the poster as well. They do a general search. They don't see anything like suspicious or anything like that outside of like the rocks is like, I'm really into carving. Like that's kind of all I can do now. You don't see a hammer anywhere. Um, but he must have hidden it very well that it won't be spotted. There's the giant poster of Rita Hayworth. It's not
And
ethical, but there's nothing wrong with it.
so basically, she just like, just let keep it just to gain a bit of gain a bit of favor for the prisoner, pretending just like, oh, I'm just gonna get you for a bit of in my good graces.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing behind that poster.
And then And then this guy, and then Andy just like not Andy, the guard was like, "Oh, do you read the Bible?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna read this passage. I'm not Christian, so it's like." And then
So he just says like a particular quote that he enjoys, and he can like recite it very
uh,
accurately. And Samuel says he likes that too. He has another quote that he likes.
and by the way, the quote that Andy chooses, "Watch ya, therefore, for ya know not when the master of the house comes." But that basically just say, okay, in translation, with
Yeah,
even more
these lines are foreshadowing. Yes.
and so and yeah, and also it just means here, just like, oh, I'm gonna listen to you whenever it comes. It's literally just it's like really smart tactics for him to gain favor from the guard without them even
The
realizing.
warden. Yeah.
Yeah, without them even
And then
realizing
what?
that.
Can you say the quote that the warden says that he enjoys, like his favorite quote?
Yeah. Okay. But okay, he said I prefer. I'm the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
Yeah.
I-
So basically,
hmm.
Andy is like feeding into the ego of the warden, or in the sense of like, oh, I follow my master to where it is I need to go, and the warden is like thinking, I am the master, or I am the person that needs to. So he sees himself as a god, which will be important for the warden's character in particular.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Andy actually read the fucking Bible. He's because he's a banker. He actually has time. He has a lot of time to read, so he can actually memorize stuff like this. It's actually good for. It's actually quite good. It's just like it's a smart move to just gain favors just in case anything happened.
Give head. What do you mean by that? Uh, yeah, yeah. It's also very good in the sense of like, Andy knows, Andy can like push a few buttons that goes in like the warden's favor, what he wants to hear, what he likes, and then you even see like how the warden even replies with his favorite quote, kind of like confirming that yeah, he sees himself like a god or something like that over these prisoners, his subjects, kind of a thing. Um, so yeah, these are like kind of the few things that are there. You you do have like the thing about being assigned to the prison library to assist the elderly Brooks, the one with the crow in his pocket. Um, Basically, he wanted to use Andy. He wanted to use Andy's financial expertise to help manage the financial matters for the other prison staff and then the warden himself. Things that get really, 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 really shady and stuff like that. That kind of
Yeah,
stuff gets explored later in the film.
yeah.
Um,
Remember,
mhm,
Brad's like, oh, tossing Sarah just an excuse to talk to Andy, and that's basically what happened.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so and there there's like all these like different things for Andy in particular where as they said, like he's been writing like a letter every week in terms of like try I want to improve the library, I need the funding for it and all that stuff. To it gets to a point where okay, got the money, now they got some reused books from old libraries or old areas that can like at least put some books in the library. um yeah, and slowly they do improve it, but before that conclusion happens for the library in particular, Brooks uh has a knife on.
well, there's a lot of scenes
There's a
afterwards.
lot of that's what I'm that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, and so basically in this library scene, they use Andy as an excuse for a system for as Brooks's assistant. But basically, it's just they just ask him to just like I want to basically just do black dark money or something. What do you call it in like English terms that you just like you just black money,
Blackmail,
not blackmail, just like dirty money.
dirty money,
Yeah, dirty
laundering.
money, laundering.
money
Basically,
laundering.
so basically the cops just asked him to just do laundering for them.
Hmm. Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
and that yeah, and that's basically his purpose. And Andy just basically tells the other people that, oh, Brooks actually said what Andy said. Do you want your son to go to Harvard or Yale? The biggest university ever. And then Brooks is like, and then one of the prisoners was like, oh, he didn't say that. Brooks is like, as God is my witness, he did. Basically, it's a it's a slight jab at the system of the commanding, the God guy,
Warden, yeah.
the warden. That he doesn't believe him. It's actually characterization, but also a joke that yeah, he did, and they're actually asking him for, they're and the gods are actually asking him for help. That's what that's what it means.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just him flexing his intelligence to other people. And Brooks is like, that can just blink for a second. Basically, the corrupt called that asked him for Harvard and shit. Then he laughed himself silly and shook Andy's hand. Yeah, it's just a laugh. Yeah, he's just gained a lot of respect from other cops for doing stuff that they want him to do.
Um. So
Hmm?
I I still
Yes.
don't think we got to the point where he has the knife point yet, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of scenes later. You need
Yeah,
to build it up.
I'm not sure what's next then.
So, uh, really. So yeah, okay. I'm just gonna mention a lot of dialogues that Brooks is like, all Andy needed was a suit and a tie and a little jiggle hula girl on his desk, and he would have been Mr. Darth the Frost, if you please. Yeah, it's a lot. It's funny joke that showcase like Brooks just like
So
Andy is a good, how powerful Andy is.
yeah, basically you kind of see everybody appreciating Andy for who he is, like to the point where it's like this dude can like if he was outside of the prison, like he would be thriving. But then it does go back into that conversation about institutionalization,
Yeah,
and that kind of gets explored more when we talk about what Brooks goes through and like how his story ends.
because
But
remember, yeah,
yeah, these are like people talking about at least the positive sides of like and then there's some conversations like maybe Andy's just so good because he's here um in prison, but like if he's out in the real world, can he maintain that? It's tough to say. It is a different life, but intelligence is still not going to go away as
mm,
if you have it.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
Red said, making a few friends, Andy. Andy said, I wouldn't say friends. I'm a convicted murderer who provides some sound financial planning. It's a wonderful pet to have. It's like, yeah, basically it's sad. Oh, basically he knows the fact that they only respect him because he helped them do shit for free, and that's basically the only reason why they respect him.
Yeah,
He's
it's
not.
like he's introducing a lifestyle that they don't know or understand,
Yeah,
but
and
it's
he's
like
actually
cool. Yeah.
and he's actually really smart about this. So he's not just like oh, he's not naive. He's actually the smartest people in the room, smartest person in the room. Red said, "Well, at least it's get you out of laundry." Uh, And Andy was like, "Oh, maybe we can do more than that. How about expanding the library, get some new books in there, just educate a lot more people in prison?"
Yeah, that's about where we're at that point.
I mean, and then he was like, "Oh," and then one of the prisoners was like, "Oh, I mean, get some new books in here, the Mister De France, if you please. Ask the warden for funds." Like like Andy literally said, ask the wardens for the fun, and they're like, what? How does that work? And then the Brooks was like, son, 6 wardens have been through here in my tendency. Terror. I've learned one immutable universal truth. Not one of them born whose asshole wouldn't prick her up tighter than a snort drum when you ask them for funds. Basically, he was like, oh, yeah, there's no way he's gonna do that.
And then he does. Then he does that.
Yeah, basically that's what he does.
Yeah.
And basically what he did is what Andy did is like, oh, I'm gonna write a letter once every week for the state senate, request funds from there.
Yeah, and eventually it worked out. In his favor.
Of course, but because the Snyder was like, just what, just give him a bit of benefit, just give him a bit of favor, because he's actually kissing his ass. Because Andy is pretending to kiss his ass, so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna mail you a letter a week. I'm gonna mail you a letter a week. It's fine. And they can't ignore me forever.
So now I'm gonna send 2 letters a week.
No, not yet. It's like that's afterwards. Yeah, it's like it's actually a bit more characterization for the warden. It's like, oh, because even though that I see you as something below you, I was like, I'll give you some respect for just mailing stuff for you. It's like it's really nothing. You're just throwing stuff in the mail for prisoners. And it's like, because you don't even need to, because Andy's not writing his name on the mail. He's literally writing like probably the warden's name or something. So he's gotta mail it. So he's gotta do it. It's a good thing.
You're gonna have to tell me when, because all I can think of next is the parole from Brooks.
I probably just play the movie while you're streaming in the background. Yeah. So, and then afterwards, Andy just started to do fraud for everyone in prison with like Red's help. Like tax, like dirty money shit, laundering.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did that for like years and years. Like he did that to everyone in prison, including the wardens. To be honest, it's a lot of taxing stuff. And Red is allowed to help him because he got way too busy. And even he was like, oh, it's fine because he got me out of the wood shop like once a month. It's cool for him. And Andy still keeping sending letters. And now you got the Brooke scene from the library.
Yeah, essentially, he holds one of the friends in knife point. Everybody's telling him to calm down. But he's saying that he has to do it because his parole is like almost over, and he's been doing this for like 50 years. He just has to like do the murder, and then he can be able to just stay longer. Basically goes back to that institutionalized conversation. Brooks feels like he's important, like he matters in the prison, and like he's like afraid of going out there in the real world, and not being anybody important, not being somebody that people can rely on or things of that nature. And that's just like, that can be one of the scary things about prison in that regard. It's like you get so used to it that you don't know anything else.
Yeah,
because you get to see his I mean, you also see like Andy using like his way of like talking at him out of it, Which again, it just kind of goes back to like Andy's skills as a person, not just like his intellect, but he can also like empathize or say the right things that can get somebody to not do a hasty decision or do a action
Yeah.
they might regret down the line or things of that nature. So it just kind of just shows his flexibility as a person.
And the thing that triggers him off, it's like Hayward was like, oh, it's like he just want to congrats him. Basically, he's actually a nice person. He also just try to, like try to be nice to Brooks, even though he's not. Doesn't seem like he's the best. Remember, this guy just literally says a lot of stuff and caused the fight guy to accidentally die. He's actually just try to be a lot more nice about it after that. And so it's a lot of good characterization in every scene.
Mm.
It's like his hero, and then just Brooks is actually just like he actually wanted to try to kill Hayward or just at least injure him to just let him stay longer. But
Right.
Red and Andy knows that you won't do it. You won't commit to that. And he actually didn't commit to that, even though he's desperate about it.
Yeah. And before he goes out of prison, the first one of the things he does is he opens the window and lets his crow fly away. Because it's now too big, he can't stay in the prison any longer. He has to go out and explore the world and all of that. That's symbolism.
Yeah, and he's gotta leave soon. So, and remember the last scene is him like in a shirt and stuff. So this is like the day that he's gotta leave. So and he's gotta free the bird. Because for one, there's no way you can take the bird out of the prison like this, and two, it's better off that he leaves like this. And he actually reflects on the fact that the bird is free, so maybe he could be, but Brooks is like, but Brooks just looks down and it's like he's not really free. He just let go to outside. And then you got a montage of like Brooks' daily life after this. And he's actually just like, because it's 50 years, he has no idea how the outside world looks like, and he's actually surprised by everything.
Like even the car.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. He tries to go to, he tries to do a job as like a grocer.
Yeah, they assign him the prison assigned him for this job. So.
But it's just like he's tried other things. He's fed birds like when he goes to the park and he feeds birds like food. He's always hoping that his crow would come back maybe one time and just see him. Of course, it never happens, but hopefully the bird is all right. But then it just got tough to the point where
yeah,
he hangs off.
That's so and then he just
carving of Brooks was here before doing that. And this is like a letter that Red is reading.
And Brooks actually said he tries to like commit crime just to get himself back to prison.
Yeah.
You can feel that he's actually really desperate in this situation, and there's no way he's gonna do anything, and so he committed suicide.
Yeah, and they have the guys have a conversation about it. It's like, why would he do that? Like, it's because Red kind of explains the institutionalized comment. Like, it's like that because that's all he ever knew. For 50 years, he's seen 6 wardens come by. He's seen a lot of prisoners come in and out. He had such a big position here in the prison. People respected him. People had his like his know-how of like everything. But at the end of the day, it's like that's something that because some of them are saying like, oh, there's no way I'd ever, some of them was like, there's no way I'd get institutionalized.
Yeah,
you won't know until what I mean, yeah, you say that now, but like, what about if you were here as long as Brooks? So yeah, obviously, Red is trying to see the other point of view. Um,
And then you got like a lot of the words afterwards. He said, "I doubt they kick any feels, not for an old crook like me." And also, P.S. Tell Hayward that I'm sorry I put a knife off to his throat. No hard feelings, Brooks. No hard feelings. Last word, Brooks.
right.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, even though he's gonna die, he's like, oh, don't worry about me. And he regret what he did beforehand. And like Red just said, he should have died here. Just a reflection for his friend he's got. He know for like over like how long is it? Like over 20 years.
For Brooks,
And Red knows him for over 20 years.
uh, 30.
30, yeah.
Yeah. I should. Yeah, 30. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's basically. But even after all that, uh, Red is like he just should have died in here. That would have been better than
That
having to
he
die out there alone and feeling scared and
by the
all this
way,
stuff.
Red only said he should have died here because you actually immediately understand why did he say that. It's just respect for him, and there's a subtext that everyone will respect him because he's a librarian. Everyone knows him about this.
Mm. And
And then you got the next scene that books are everywhere.
right. It'll hopefully this $200 will fill your needs. Please stop sending us letters. Clear this out until the warden gets back. It only took 6 years. Now I'll do 2 letters a week instead of 1. Yeah. So, the this is I think this is around the time where he plays the Figaro
Yeah,
music
he
in the PA system.
like a French song. I have no idea. I didn't look it up what the song means.
Yeah, because even like Red was saying, I don't know what the lyrics mean. Maybe it's a good thing.
But he at this time he still doesn't want to know.
Well, I don't need to know. It's not a scene in the book. But it does seem to be in character of Andy.
It's in character for him and to bring like more freedom to Shawshank.
Yeah, basically, he's playing the Figaro song like throughout the PA system. Everybody can hear it.
Yeah,
The warden and the cops, they all come in like where he locked the door, so he's just like telling Andy to stop doing that. But Andy turns it up louder. I have no idea what those 2 Italian ladies were singing about. Truth is, I don't want to know. Some things are best left unsaid. But it was probably something beautiful, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, and then they break the door open, and Andy gets sent to the hole for 2 weeks.
But
and when he gets out, the guys are like, "Couldn't you just play something better?" Maestro, like Hank Williams.
Mozart. I don't even think they know who Maestro is.
Yeah.
Not Maestro. There's like some pop guy from old. And Andy was like,
Williams,
yeah. So Andy was like, yeah, it's fine.
I couldn't take any requests because they broke the door open by the time I could do that.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, and it's clear he doesn't regret spending the time in the hole. He has like Mr. Mozart to keep him company. So
right,
yeah.
That's the beauty of, and that's kind of the key thing that's the beauty of music. They can't take that away from you.
Yeah.
And then this is where like, what about for you? And Brad says that he used to play the harmonica when he was a guy like younger. He lost interest in it. Doesn't make sense to have it here. But prison is the best place for that stuff to make sense.
Yeah,
So you don't need
you don't have
so
to.
that way you don't forget what? Forget that there are places in the world that are not made of stones. Something they can't get to, something they can't touch, something that's yours. And that leads into the hope conversation.
And yeah, and like basically this scene was like Red was like Hope is a dangerous here in Shawshank. Hope can drive a man insane, and it's got no use on the inside. You better get used to that idea. Like,
Well,
and then Andy was like, oh, like Brooks did. Basically, he has no hope. So basically, when Hope just dumps into him, he just died. So you need some hope, and of course, Red has nothing to say about this, and he just eats alone elsewhere.
yeah. Then it cuts to basically another 10 years has went by for uh
For
for Red,
that.
and they ask him, "Do you feel like you've been rehabilitated?" Oh yes, of course. Yeah, everything is great. I feel like I'm good. I'll be able to function in society now. Denied, and it's back in Shawshank. Another
Yeah,
song and dance on that front for 30 years, and I wonder where those 10 years went. And that's where Andy says, as a 10-year anniversary, another 30-year anniversary, here's a present. Gives him a harmonica. He says he's not going to play it right now. And then I think around this point, he also gives a gift to Andy for his 10-year anniversary in the prison. Another poster, basically.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah,
It's
classic.
classic. She's like really pretty at that time. Oh, well. I mean, remember watching Blonde, that movie, but Anna de Armas, like, just make her like I don't even know what to say.
Which is a parody of her. It's not.
I was like, I expect to watch it in porn parody, not in actual films. But oh well.
Yeah. So Andy, so Ed, so you get some monologue kind of a thing again from Red, saying that Andy was true to his word. He did write 2 letters a week now instead of 1. And then eventually in 1959, the state Senate finally said that, all right, you can't give him a $200 check. Let's make it a $500 to get him to shut up.
Yeah,
and Andy was very good at stretching that dollar out, making book clubs, getting books from the book clubs, charity groups, from the Pound, Treasure Island, a whole bunch of like books of different calibers. The boys are basically helping Andy sort the books to go in different sections. And I think this is around the time where Tommy's introduced.
No, not yet. So okay, so there's a lot more detail.
No. There's stuff before that.
So basically in that scene, so after he just built a lot of phrases, there's like a lot of fun dialogues, but we can just, and one of them, and by the way, Red made a board that says Brooke has it's here, or it's like something. And it's like a way to pay respect for Brooks. It's like, because remember, there's a scene beforehand that we skipped that Red actually plays, like, blows a harmony in his prison cell.
The harmonica.
Yeah, harmonica. And so symbolize that he's willing to just change, to just start changing and start receiving hope again.
Yeah. So in the prison, roughly, this is around the time where Andy reveals to Red that he's been on the warden's good sides, in the sense of like Yeah, I've been fudging some numbers,
Yeah,
doing
yeah, and
some money laundering. How much of the money got put in? You're also so
what scene are you
he
in?
kind of specifies it a little bit later, in terms of like how he's managed to do that. This is around where like Norton has started beginning to exploit the prison labor.
There's like 2 scenes
Uh,
afterwards.
yeah, something like that.
So the next scene is basically just okay. I just gotta go over all the scenes. Every scene is like amazing. So the warden was like, so just like basically this scene, he made a speech in public. It's like, oh, I did everything on my own. By the way, I read a bunch of he read a bunch of like God passages, just like I'm the God, and you guys are below me. I did everything myself. I'm not gonna mention my prisoners for credits. And then the next thing, you just get the idea that this guy just give him money, and so to just buy stuff to like gain some tax favor. So he's basically doing that even out of interest in outside the prison as well.
Yeah, because it's getting him a lot of money. So basically, it's pretty much slave labor.
Yeah,
Um,
but
but it's not slave labor; it's community service. And, that sounds good on paper, but I gotta feed my families because, like, there's a reporter basically asking because, like, basically, Warden is getting a lot of money for what he's doing, but he's not. It's not like there are other people that are not benefiting out of it, not just the prisoners, but like people from the press and things like that.
yeah, I mean, you just get a lot of old people in the background just cutting trees and shit.
I
Build,
need this highway contract, otherwise it's not going to work out. If I don't get it, I'm gonna go under. And
yeah, and and then you just got the detail that the warden is actually hiding the safe behind the like the pay like the god's label. That's like his judgment comes and that right soon. Basically means that, and that symbolizes that he's the god again.
yeah,
And you see Andy just put the books and stuff inside there. And then the warden was like, "Oh, I want you to clean my shit. My take the stuff for dry cleaning and a bag of whatnot." And
you
Andy
can
just of course,
finish the pie because it was shit.
yeah, and and also and
Yeah,
how that and
this is kind of around the point where he explains that every shady deal has a dollar that was earned. That was because Andy was keeping track in the books.
yeah, basically.
Um,
And Andy, and remember, and also the fact that the scene that Warden tells him just dry cleans and shit, it just reminds him that you're working below me, by the way.
yeah, and then he explains to Red like, yeah, there is like a river of dirty money launder like coming through here, and sooner or later he's gonna have to explain where did that come from, and what Andy's responsibility is that he basically he channels it, filters it, funnels it, stock securities, uh, and it just goes out to the real world, and it just is empty. Uh, by the time Norton retires, like he'd become a millionaire, but if they ever catch on, he'll end up being a prisoner himself. But he's, Red is not really sure about all this stuff, but Andy's like explaining the financial side that like,
yeah,
yeah,
and
he's never gonna be able to identify
the
who
person.
was the one laundering the money because like it's like if they catch him, they're gonna catch you. It's like no, basically there's this alias, this Randall Stevens, who doesn't exist, but he has like these. He's the bank account. He's got the social security number. He's got all these things, even though that's not a real person. But eventually, when it filters and they do it, they're only going to find the warden, basically. So that's basically making like a ghost trail that leads to somebody who doesn't exist, but it will lead back to the warden himself, and Andy will always be left free. from the conversation.
Yeah, just like just this is like how smart he is. He's able to make up a lot of like license and shit. Of course, by the way, you can't do this in real life. You need physical proof and stuff now. This is
Well,
just beforehand.
you gotta remember the 50s are a little different.
Yeah, that's basically what I say. Everything is just technology now. You can't just write letters and shit.
Yeah. This is another adaptation thing. So like in the book, actually the thing is the Randall Stevens, like that identity was actually made prior to Andy even going to jail in the first place.
Really?
Because like essentially the idea is like he wanted to filter a a big amount of money so that like if he were to escape, then he'd already have the money in place from there. And then he does more scams and stuff like that, which adds more money into the account that's already in for Randall Stevens. So basically, like instead of essentially like what happens that once you go to, I mean, the general idea is like when you go to prison, like they freeze your account and like you can't get access to your money anymore, essentially. But like, so he already made like a separate account for Randall Stevens, and like that would be like the filter of like where more money that goes towards the warden will go into his account that's already pre-existing. So that was kind of a thing. It was something he planned out for years, not just not like just now kind of a thing. But like that's again, it's not really a big difference. It's just something I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess it's fine either way. I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's better for this movie because it's actually just like it's just aligned with the theme of he actually has a lot of time to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's essentially, so he's basically explaining the whole money laundering process, like how exactly is it that, and Red is like impressed. Yeah, it is pretty impressive how it's like it's pretty much set in stone. And then I think this is around the time where Tommy gets in.
Before that, I want to mention a few dialogues. Here, Andy was like, "I don't run the scams, Rat. I just process the profit. Fine line, maybe, but I also build a library. I need you to help a dozen guys and get a high school diploma. Why do you think the world lets me do it? To keep you happy?" And Rat's like, "To keep you happy and doing the laundry. Money instead of sheets." And he was like, "Wow, I work cheap. That's a trade-off." Yeah, it's just a lot of like ideas. Just like, oh yeah, he doesn't believe that what he's doing is like, completely wrong. But it's just he's gonna do it to benefit every single side, and he just do it for the community instead of just for that person. When he said he used it to help dozen guys and build a library, it's a lot of good characterization. And then that's where Tommy comes in.
Yeah, so Tommy is like basically a younger prisoner. He's been in and out of jail since the age of 13. He just got married recently and had a daughter who he's not going to meet ever again, essentially. Somebody young and the stupid kind of prisoner, which this is where you kind of see Andy's growth, is like where it's like, what are you in here for? He basically, I think he was like stealing televisions or something like that. And then Andy's like, well, what are you in here for? It's like, well, I'm innocent. So is everybody else here.
No,
and
remember
everybody found that funny.
Tom. So here's the thing about Tommy's characterization. He's like a hipster. It's like, oh, I'm cool. Prisons are just quite normal for him. He's been in and out for it for so long. So he's like
he's the rookie. He's talking to some masters, basically.
Even though he has a lot more experience than them when it comes to prisoning. Andy was like, but Andy just literally shows his confidence. Like, wow, if you got arrested so many times, you are not. Why the fuck are you stealing? You're not really smart, right?
Yeah,
you should try something else.
Tommy eventually, he gets offended, but then like eventually he's like, yeah, you're right. I think I need some help. So Andy decides like to help him for the next year, kind of like guiding him, and that was something that Red mentions in the narration as well. It's like I think he feels like helping out somebody like Tommy because Tommy doesn't know how to read or write
Yeah,
very
and
well.
because
So he feels
and
like
he
training Tommy is like something that gives him like a purpose that's outside of just like carving and money laundering and stuff like that. It's like, teaching somebody education is like, that's another rewarding thing that you can get out of it.
yeah, and
And Tom is like basically training to do this GED exam.
yeah,
And the day the exam happens, Tommy feels like he did shit. Um,
yeah, it's a lot of things. Yeah, holy sh. Yeah, so basically, and then he has to promise to Andy, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna commit to this shit because I don't deal with you losers. And it's like hilarious scene that he just like, oh, I'm gonna teach you ABC.
yeah.
And Red was like, oh, his next task is Tommy. He's gonna help him to do stuff.
Hmm.
So and and he just wants to keep himself busy and make new projects. He needs his mind to occupy with something. And also Red mentions now is 1966. So it's like
I'll
how many
tell
years?
you how the goddamn score comes out. 2
Yeah.
points right there. It's a basketball reference.
uh,
I felt bad. I let him down. It's crap. He was proud of you. Because he's talking to Red at this point. And he was saying like, how is he like? How is he so smart? He said he used to be a banker, and then so he's like, so how did a banker end up here for murder?
he called his
I
wife.
mean, if you look at him, you can't really imagine that. He gets caught his wife in bed with some golf pro, greased them both. Tommy is connecting a dot about 4 years ago, and then Tommy tells this conversation to Red
Two other
and
people.
Andy
Uh,
that there is a
yeah,
cellmate who claimed to have the responsibility of the murders for which Andy was convicted to. And
yeah.
you actually kind of hear you actually get to hear the prisoner himself say it in the flashback about how it was fucking amazing how they were able to pin the whole thing on this hotshot banker guy while the wife and golfer were fucking. So
And he uses the same gun, so that's like even more.
yeah,
Here's the
that's
thing.
all that is in the book. I knew that was going to be something that could be a conversation.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this Tommy guy just like, oh, by the way, I just meet this guy who just tells me everything about. I bring everything to fucking Andy. I was like, holy shit! What are the odds that you met this guy? I mean, I know that he's a hipster who got in prison for 13 years, since 13, not 13 years. But I was like, wow, do you know how big a prison is?
Honestly, it could be 13 years, like 26, 13 to 26. That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's like, oh, yeah. I mean, I get it's good for characterization, but at the same time, it's like, I bet contrive that Tommy just know this guy.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, of course,
And I will say that so Tommy's fate is different in the books as well. It's not how it goes like in the movie. Um, but yeah, that's just something I'll mention right now, but we'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
basically, this changes everything for Andy. That he has some inkling that yeah, I was in prison for no reason. So I was right. I was innocent. Everybody was trying to gaslight me into thinking that I was the murderer, the killer, and all that stuff. I took the punches. I did what I had to do. I served my time. But I'm innocent at the end of the day. And if Tommy were to say something, then maybe it can get off. And he's telling this to the warden. The warden does not want to get rid of Andy because Andy's pulling in so much money for the money laundering, which gets Andy to mention that, I mean, if I'm free, I'm not going to mention the money laundering. You're being a little obtuse. That's a very popular meme of the movie. What'd you say? You're being obtuse.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't read about a lot of memes for stuff. I don't really look at a lot of memes, so I'm not sure.
You know, obtuse. Like obtuse is like you're hyperbolic.
Jesus. I don't spend that much time on the internet.
I don't know. I'm explaining what does obtuse mean.
Yeah.
In over your head doesn't make sense. Like blowing it out of proportions, things like that. So yeah. What was it? So yeah, basically he
just tell it to the warden, and he just tell the warden.
The warden is pissed about the mention about the.
But so first off, the warden tried to gaslight him first.
Yes.
You know, of course, Andy is not some fucking stupid people. So he was like, dude, I know what your concern is. So the money.
Yeah. You know, there's records, WTs with his names on them. And he's trying to get him out of here. And then if I ever got out, I'm not going to mention what happened here. I'd be as indictable as you are for laundering the money. Don't ever mention money to me, you son of a bitch. And then he is put in solitary for a month. A month, the longest the warden has ever done. So definitely very angry. And then this time,
remember, this guy only got locked up for 2 weeks for fucking breaking into his office and play music.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. Yeah, so that's the longest stretch he's ever heard of.
And it's all his fault.
Tommy feels like it's his fault, which no, it's not. I mean, you didn't pull the trigger or convict him. If Andy's innocent, like for real innocent, it seems to be that way.
Yeah, so it seems, yeah. And that's where, and
Tommy's been here for 19 years at this point.
Not 19 years, and that's why, and about not, I don't think 19 years. 19...
No. That is for Tommy. That's his stat. He's been here for 19 years.
Yeah. And so, is it 19 years? Holy shit.
I mean,
no.
I will comment too. It's like that's something you can. I do appreciate it. Something to just notice about the makeup department. They do age up the characters over the years so that they don't look the same over the course of 10 years, 20 years. So they do actually put effort into like trying to make them look different across the generations. So I appreciate that.
By the way, Morgan Freeman looks almost the same now as before, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
19 years. And Tommy, that's where Tommy get the high school education. And he's about to throw it away because he's not confident that he's gonna do it. He's not gonna make it. Until Red just like take it from him and everyone just passing him over, just like laugh at him. And Red just like, oh, you passed.
Yeah. So I mean, Tommy. So this is kind of your old Yeller situation right here.
Yeah.
So Norton takes Tommy outside. Let's have a little chat. So things have been keeping me up at night. Those things that were said about Andy.
Yeah.
Was that really the truth? Like absolutely the truth and nothing else? And you would say that in a court? Yeah, of course I would. And it gets shot.
Yeah. So basically, so here's the thing, because like Tommy is not like the smartest person around, so he's like, I'm gonna tell the truth. And Mortis actually gave him a chance. It's like, if you don't tell me anything, I'll not shoot you. Because he said that he's gonna say it out. I was like,
Mhm.
and because he actually admits that everything he said is like the truth and stuff. And he, of course, and the warrior doesn't want him to just leave for knowing that information and just possibly.
So this is another pretty decent change, like pretty big change in the book. Tommy doesn't die in the book. What happens is that the warden, he actually says like he actually moves Tommy to a different prison away from Shawshank so that he's away from Andy. So it's like to a point where he's no longer concerned of the current prison that they're at. So even if Tommy were to squeal in a different prison, it wouldn't matter. So that was the thing. That was the difference. But I do understand the purpose of killing him in the movie.
It just
I just wanted to mention that.
further motivation, and also the fact that characters of Warden is much more brutal. If you just move in a different prison, he's like, oh no, he's gotta have a better ending.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which is funny because he's supposed to have a better ending, but we can't do that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It's. I mean, I like the killing him more better here.
Yeah. So Hadley shoots him, and
by the way, have you read the book? When have you read the book?
I've read the book.
When did you read the book? Holy shit!
So this is as I mentioned before earlier, the Shawshank Redemption, like that's not actually like it's not a big book. It's actually like a collective of short stories in the book called Different Seasons. So basically, Stephen King writes like 4 different books, like 4 different short stories in this one collective book, Different Seasons. One of them is Shawshank, as you know. The other one is Apt Pupil, that also has a movie out. The Body, which is actually Stand By Me, which is also equally, if not more popular. And then there is The Breathing Method, but that one has never been adapted.
What?
But yeah, The Shawshank Redemption is not like a big story, but it's a simple read.
Seriously, holy shit! Stephen King goes to movies. Different season. Oh well, what the fuck is like Rita Hayworth? Rita Hayworth, the fucking character,
the actress. Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's the original story is just called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. Obviously, the movie just cuts the title to just the Shawshank Redemption, and then you have the reference of Rita Hayworth, the poster in the. But really, like Rita Hayworth is not like a character because like Rita Hayworth is just a reference to the poster.
Yeah. So that's why. So that's it. So that's why. I mean, I can get like
I'm not 100% sure why Bodies was referred to as Stand By Me.
What? Is that also by?
I'm sure you know Stand By Me, right?
I heard of it. I never seen it.
Stand By Me is also like highly regarded, like the Goonies kind of a thing.
That's also by Stephen King.
That's by Stephen King, and Stand By Me is like it's highly regarded.
Jesus.
He used to cook back in the day.
I mean, he also made the X-Files, so oh well. One episode.
Yeah. Right. So Tommy's dead, and yeah. So we eventually do go back to. So the warden goes back to Andy,
And
who is kind of serving his time there, and he's saying, the trouble is over. Tommy's dead. You can just go back and work for me and do what you've done all along, and we'll let bygones be bygones. And then he says, Andy's like, get somebody else to do that. I'm done helping you. No, nothing stops. Nothing. Nothing. Or you'll do the hardest time there is. Then some big key things. No more protection from the guards.
yeah,
He'll burn down the library. Sealed off brick by brick. The books will be barbecued. Yeah, so are you catching my drift? Or am I being obtuse?
yeah, and and then force him to 1 more month for solitary confinement.
Yeah, so he continues on. Once he's released, it kind of does like montage straight to the
To just him talking to Red.
And basically he's talking to Red about his wife. He appreciated her, but like he wasn't very good with his words for her, like how he could show that. He's like, I killed her. I didn't pull the trigger, but I drove her away, and that's why she died, because of me. But that even if that's the case, it doesn't make you a murderer. Maybe a bad husband, but you didn't pull the trigger. It's just bad luck. I was in a path of the tornado. I just didn't expect the storm to last as long as it has.
Wait, what? You're in a tornado?
No, it's a idiom.
Oh, Jesus. So.
So he asked like, Red, do you ever think you'll ever get out of here?
He's like,
maybe when I get like a long white beard.
They're like when he's like really old.
Yeah, but like really, really old to the point where like kind of like Brooks, essentially is what he's thinking. What Andy, he wants to go to Zihuatanejo in Mexico, a little place on the Pacific Ocean. He loves the Pacific Ocean in the sense of like it representative of no memories. Live the rest of my life there, a warm place with no memories. Have a little hotel right by the beach. Get a worthless old boat, fix it up new, and then go charter fishing. Thinking about his freedom one day. And then he says that, he asked Red to make a promise, like once he is released, I want you to travel to this specific hayfield near the Buxton and basically recover a package that was buried there. There'd be like a type of rock that has no business being there. Like a volcanic rock, essentially, and then you'll be able to find what I have hidden there. And Red is like very worried about Andy's well-being.
Basically,
and somebody asked, like, he also asked like another thing, right? With he also asked like, what about you? Red is like, I don't think I can make it outside. I've been in here for most of my life now. More than half of my life. I'm an institutional man now, just like Brooks. You just underestimate yourself. No, I'm the guy who can get you things here. But now when you go outside, you just need to call somebody on the yellow pages, like the phone book, and I don't even know what I could do out there. So
that's what they call yellow pages phone books. Jesus.
Did that back in the 60s, but
yeah. Basically, it's a lot of subtext that Andy was like, oh, he does. It's like if you read it ahead, it's like, oh, So basically, he's like that. He's make up his mind to do it right now because he can't stand this situation any longer, and and it will get worse for him.
Yeah, and then then Red talks to the other guys about he's feeling worried about Andy, and there's like he tells him that the friend is like, yeah, I thought things were weird when he asked for like rope. You gave him rope?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 6 feet long. You gave him rope after what happened to Brooks? I don't think he'd do that. Obviously they're worried. And then that's roughly the end, like, where in the sense of like roll call happens, and then everybody's getting out, but only one person didn't come out of his cell. Andy, and
But no,
opens.
remember the scene that beforehand, that Andy just still doing the books for the warden first, taxes,
Oh,
and
one last book writing.
yeah, one last book writing. So to get, and then this time warden said, instead of just tell them to shine his shoes, he tells him to shine the shoes himself.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's basically what he said. So it's he just want to remind him that, oh, by the way, you're still working below me.
Right.
Yeah. And
So that happens, and then when they go towards the cell, it's empty. Nobody's in it. They try to look around.
And they try to get Red.
They get Red. They know his buddies. They're good pals. Red has no idea what happened. No idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And basically, he's Warden is like pissed. So he just starts throwing the rocks around, and then he throws one at Rita Hayworth's poster, and it cuts through the paper, and that's kind of odd. If it's a solid wall, it should not break. So picks at it, rips it off, and then you see
And
there is a man-sized hole.
People actually complain. People actually complain the fact that there's no way he can climb through this wall with with this, because that's like four, because Andy will have to stick like four sides of the wall with like paper. I was like, no, he just need to stick like two sides. That's it.
Yeah, it's Are you talking about the poster size?
No, the side, like the side, the corners.
Oh,
It's like people can actually naturally complain that, oh, this is a plot hole for some reason.
you
I
can
was
get
like
a wider poster though.
not the problem, because people think that there's no
I
way
know
he
you're
can
talking about the circle. You're talking about the circle aspect. Like if you were to cover it, then like the inside of the outside of the circle should be poking out of the poster. But I'm saying like poster width could be like longer to cover up that diameter essentially.
And actually people complain that, oh, if Andy angles like all four sides of the hole, there's no way he can climb through it. I was like, no, he just need to and like stab the top corners of it. That's all he needs.
Yeah, it's kind of like he has to kind of like shimmy inside anyway. So you can like extend your hand out first and then dive in.
That's basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So just want to address that. Of course, he just find that out, and of course the warden just searched around this place, and he escaped. And all he found is a bunch of muddy prison uniform in the lake.
Oh, it's not mud. That's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was crawling through shit for 500 meters or something like that. Yeah, he got out. He got out. He got out of his clothes. You got that iconic poster of on the thumbnail where Andy's like shirtless, but like it's in the rain.
I was like, what the fuck will you put that as a poster? You fucking hell. You know,
Yeah.
that's literally the twist of the movie, and you put it as a poster.
I guess to be fair, nobody would really know what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel representative of the movie. To be honest.
No, it doesn't. And if I didn't watch it, I was like,
Well, I guess maybe though, because like Shawshank Redemption is essentially like a Prison Break movie, but not like your traditional kind of Prison Break movie.
no, it's more like understanding human nature and just how institution works.
But like there's a Prison Break.
That's just one of the many aspects of the movie. You
Yes,
feel
but for the sake of a poster, I guess I could see that Prison Break. Ah, that's cool.
yeah.
Maybe. Uh, yeah. So and he's gone. Then you kind of see you see some flashbacks of things that were going on behind the scenes. Like for example, the moment of the last conversation he had with the warden. You see that actually he put like he got like a similar type of book, a similar type of folder, and then he swapped it out for the ones that the warden usually puts in the cabinet. So taking the original files of what the warden had. Um, then you also see some of the other things like
Andy just
how he's escaping and how he's essentially carving that hole in the wall. And it's like, yeah, I thought it would take him 600 years to do that. Turns out he needed 20.
remember
Um,
Andy actually knows how rocks work and stuff. He studies those, so he can actually analyze it.
yeah, that, and then also like I think, and then the theme that one of the biggest themes about hope, and like the theme about like it can drive anybody insane in prison, but like for Andy, he just knew how to like repurpose that insanity to other things to keep him sane. Because like even though he thinks he's innocent, even though he thinks he's like able to go through whatever he could, he's still going to put all that effort into trying to escape. Um, he
Yeah.
won't quit from that decision like some people would give up, but he just didn't. And then obviously after that 1 month in the hole, learning that he was actually truly innocent, uh, yeah, he that kind of is the breaking point that
Yeah.
he
And
needs to escape.
so he actually has to hold the entire time. But because it's a lot of Red just made a bunch of assumptions. He's like a bit of unreliable narrator that he doesn't get into Andy's perspective sometimes.
Yes,
And
I'm glad you said that.
yeah, it's a good use of unreliable narrator. It's not just to cover up plot holes. It's just to give you a different perspective of the situation.
Because like you see the thing of Andy carving a hole in the wall,
Yeah.
and but like, but then when you see like for example, how does he get away? So you see him like go into the pipes, and there's lightning and rain that day. So what he does is like whenever there's a lightning crack, he'd slam the rock down. He'll slam the rock down onto the pipe, so nobody could potentially hear somebody breaking the pipe. And he would do that a few times, wait for the lightning to go, then hit it, and then cover himself in shit. But it's important so that when he goes out, the dogs won't be able to sense him.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
it's like
he's
he's Andy's really smart. He's playing 4D chess.
40 chess, yeah. Oh, we forgot to
It's
mention that he's been carving those
chess
pieces
pieces.
for chess pieces, yeah.
It's symbolism for that. To be fair, my
Mhm.
university just asked me to just like do fucking like understand how symbolism works and shit.
Oh, this
And I was
movie
like,
has
so
plenty of that.
yeah. I mean, we do that for fucking Stanley Kubrick, so I get that. I love Stanley Kubrick, and most of his movies are really good. I said most because there's like a few that's like
Yeah.
hmm, probably
Yeah, so he takes basically he takes the So he ends up taking Norton's suit, tie, and ledger. Nobody even noticed that because it's such a routine at this point that nobody bothered to look down at his shoes. They were shiny, like the warden said to do it. And then he also has like the ledger containing the evidence of the money laundering and the corruption at Shawshank, and the guards were searched. So basically, the cops, like other cops outside, they go into Shawshank and they start arresting people.
Yeah.
Red says I didn't get to see it, but I heard that Hadley was crying like a little bitch. Mr. Krabs.
So here's a question. So I just keep thinking, is this a problem? So do you put bars in like the pipes, in the end of the pipe, just in case anything happened?
Or
Is that unnatural?
So I guess it depends. Like I'm sure like other kinds of because like a lot of prisons like they if you think about the Auschwitz, like not Auschwitz, oh Jesus Christ, not Auschwitz, Jesus Christ, Alcatraz. God, I'm gonna get cooked for that. Mentioning a World War II. So yeah, the Alcatraz prison escape. Like the way that people escape through that. I mean, they went through like the ventilation shafts, and they would carve like holes into the ventilation shafts, so there would be room for the guys to break out. But like that was like going through the air vents, so I'm not really sure. I can imagine like having pipes like not having bars like that, or even then like most bars usually aren't like that like small grated kind of a thing. Like they're usually like kind of like bigger squared kind of things. So Andy's like pretty skinny. So it's like even if there were bars there, I'd assume he'd be able to squeeze his way out. I mean, he had to squeeze his way out through the hole through the wall. He could do anything at that point.
Yeah, probably. And he can just he just keep hitting the rock with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like the only thing you could say is like maybe somebody would notice that the toilets were not working. But even then, it's like he did this at night, so not many people are going to be using the bathroom at that time of the day.
Also, he just hit a fucking hole at the top of the pipe, so it's not really that bad.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Then it also has like a scene of like Andy going to the bank. He's calling himself Randall Stevens. He says, "I'd like to withdraw the $370,000." And he says he's not gonna be a part of this bank anymore. I just want to take my money and go. Everybody sees like he goes to these different banks that were all the money that was laundered from the warden, but nobody can find it suspicious because he has all the documents, he has all the credentials, he has all the social security number, proving that he truly is Randall Stevens. So yeah, take your money and go.
Remember, he's been out of the society for 19 years, so no one remembers him.
Yeah.
If I see a murderer live next door to me, don't worry, it's not, because all people who live next door are like students and shit. So, and I haven't seen, and this guy is like locked in prison for like 30 years. I probably wouldn't even notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets his money, and then the local newspaper, they basically had sent the news tip about there was money laundering in Shawshank, and here's all the evidence that proves that from an anonymous tip. And Hadley's taken to jail, and they go up to the warden's office and tries to arrest him, but the warden doesn't want to get out like that, so he commits suicide.
Yep. And
And
by the way, it's symbolism that that the fucking warden just looks in the Bible. It's like, oh, you're right. It's like
yeah,
salvation day within, and then you just see the fucking axe inside
yeah.
that
So
he's been used.
yeah. So the warden in particular is the one with the biggest change from book to movie, and it's not that big as you think. It's just like in the sense of like, so the warden actually is three different characters because there are three different wardens that are there during this time of Shawshank Redemption, the book. So there's like one who's like mid, one who's like evil, like one that's like bad but not evil, and then one that's like evil. And then like each of them had each of them had different personality traits. I think the mid one was like kind of like he was the Bible one, and then each of the other ones like have their own different personalities. So it's like I understand why they combined them all into one character. I just think it makes more sense to do that, and I think it's better for that too. Honestly speaking, because
Yeah,
one,
for like
less people to juggle, and one and two, it's like the
you're
warden
correct.
himself has so many themes related to the whole story overall that like I feel like it would have devalued if you gave two other characters who don't really share the same personality as the one in the movie.
Yeah, to be honest,
And
I'm just
then,
so yeah.
mhm.
I'm just so curious. I'm surprised my fucking university didn't even choose to show the Shawshank Redemption when it's like this is like the lecturer's fucking pipe dream when it comes to symbolism.
Yeah, but it didn't make box office.
What? I hate people.
Well, it's kind of funny though. I've seen film classes put Joker, and yes, the Joker has like a Oscar in it. True.
Oh, oh, I do you know that I actually studied taxi driver for two
Yeah.
hours today, and I was literally just praising the Joker and just bitching about Joker too during the class.
Yeah. And I guess the one other change too is like, yeah, because the third warden is different from the book, from the movie one. So it's like, actually, that one does get arrested and he does go to jail like quietly.
And it's
But I do think the suicide makes sense in the movie.
yeah, it's like, and I think it's like a lot more symbolic. It's like, oh God, he doesn't want to be judged by anyone. So he just commits suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so at this point, this is where that's pretty much where it kind of ties up. And then the following year, Red is paroled after serving 40 years. And in this time when he goes in that, how do you feel you have this time? Doesn't he doesn't do his I've been good. I've been doing my best. I'll be good in society. And so here he's like, I really don't give a shit. I
No, I
think it's
mean,
fucked up. I think you
I think
guys are terrible.
I think you need a scene before that first.
Which
So
one?
Andy gave Red a postcard. That seems important. That and then Red just spent his
Yeah,
time just looking around this place.
because it feels empty without Andy.
Uh, yeah. And he's just gonna figure out, oh, where is Andy's place? So, and it's like, oh, there. And so it just takes his time before he just realized where to go.
Mm,
Just
mhm.
to love geography because Andy makes him smarter.
Right.
And then Red said, when I picture him heading south in his own car with the top down, it always makes me laugh. He just like Andy the Frost, who crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side. Andy the Frost, headed for the Pacific. Yeah, it's like really. Here's the thing. It's like a really good scene when it comes to like characterization. Like Red just cares about Andy and he actually wishes to see him again. And exploring how the outside world looks like. As now that he actually escaped. Red just looks at him. Was like Red, and then of course they talked. Red and other prisoners talk about this break all the time. and you know
Uh,
they just
this
reminiscing him,
right.
and then remember that, and well, even though they're like other cellmates are like praising him, Red is like always the quiet one that sits down and listens. He felt hollow about it, and he has to remind himself some birds are not meant to be caged.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of just reflecting back on like, some people do prefer that institutional life, but some people just can't do it. Doesn't matter.
It's a lot of themes. Like, would you rather be trapped into a safe place, or you rather set free and explore the real world?
Yeah, and
And then you just gotta love good dialogues. It's like I love this because Red said their feathers are just too bright, and when they fly away, the part of you knows that it was a sin to lock them up does rejoice. But still, the place you live in is that much more drab and empty that they're gone. And for me, I guess I just miss my friend.
mhm.
Yeah, he just, he just like really misses him, and he just like reflecting the fact that maybe he should be leaving as well. And now you got that scene, the very iconic scene. I think it's iconic.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Essentially, it's just now there's a new warden. About how do you feel? 40 years prison. Yeah, it's shit. I don't think things are gonna get better. Things like that,
And yeah, that scene just
but he, instead of getting rejected this time, he's accepted.
yeah
For,
because
for
yeah because Red just like Red was like, it's a lot of great dialogue. So Red was like, oh, I don't even know what rehabilitated. I don't even know what that means. And then he was like, oh, that's just a way to make up what a politician would said. A young fella like you can wear a suit and have a job. And then afterwards, what do you really want to know? I'm sorry for what I did. And then the other guy was like, well, are you? And then the camera just slowly zooms into like Morgan Freeman. There's not a day goes by that I don't feel regret. Not because I'm in here or because you think I should. And I look back on the way I was then. There's a lot of long pauses, to be fair. A young, stupid kid who committed that terrible crime. I want to talk to him. And then I want to try and talk some sense to him. Tell him the way things are. But I can't. That kid's long gone. This old man is all that's left. I gotta live with that. Basically, it's just a sentence of I don't care. It's like I finally reflect the fact I actually real about the fact that I actually did something fucked up, and I should actually pay, and I should actually just pay for it and stuff. Just like you know what? Let's just pretend. And then he keeps saying, rehabilitated is just a bullshit word. So you go on and stamp your form, Sonny, and stop wasting my time.
freedom.
Yeah. Because to tell you the truth, I don't give a shit. It's like, because like this is the mentality that, he's clear, is the fact that he clearly just actually, it's like this gives them the realization that this time he's actually true. And he actually meant it this time. Instead of just bullshit words. He actually has a lot of reflection did, and he actually just talks about like how the Andy changes him. Because I argue that Morgan Freeman has the most character development from a guy who's like, I'm just a guy in prison. I don't want to leave.
Yeah. Again, he is the main character, but that regard, but he, in the sense of like he's the main character in terms of like he is the one we hear his thoughts, his point of view, and everything like that. Um, Andy is technically the main character, but like he's the character that's being described
Red.
uh by Red. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's just Red. Just like he's just talking about he's guilty and he can't change his past. Change the past. He has to live with his regrets. It's like, and then of course, after everything he experienced in Shawshank, like all the corruptions and shit. After realizing Andy, that there's always hope and stuff. And Tommy getting killed, Brooks committing suicide. It's like a lot of things are just not just black and white. And
Yeah, and these are kind of the things that like when Red goes out into public himself and he tries to live a paroled life outside, he does. He also becomes a grocer as well.
yeah, I think
I'm
the
pretty.
one thing
I'm pretty sure it's demanded by the prison.
I think I have a nitpick here. It's not just I want to see like the prisoner's reaction when it comes to like Red is leaving, but they just cut straight to him leaving. So I was like, I just want a scene like this, but oh well.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah. So he struggles to find a life outside of prison, and he's afraid that that's never going to happen. And then he says like honestly, I got to a point where what Brooks did makes sense to me.
Yeah,
But
and
the only reason I'm not doing that is because I made a promise to Andy that I'd visit, Buxton and find the rock that he was telling me to get.
and
So this is where he breaks his parole and
and by
goes
the
off to Texas.
there's a lot of good details because Morgan Freeman was like, oh, but he just asked the manager, can I use the restroom, please? And the manager was like, you don't have to tell me, just go.
And he says, I've been doing this for 40 years, asking somebody
Yeah,
to take a piss. If I
yeah,
don't do that, I can't make a drop. So yeah, routines.
yeah. He needs like the orders and stuff, but it is what it is. He also just think of like robbing banks to do so.
Yeah, he's thought about going back to jail. It's terrible to live in fear. And then before he goes to find the rock that Andy said to find, he also carves out, and so is Red next to Brooks was here.
Yeah, it's a great. And by the way, it's like because Morgan Freeman because Red was like because Red got educated from all the rock picking for Andy, so he can instantly realize that which one is not the correct rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember what it said. Remember what it said. The letter. There's a letter inside and some money.
Right. Dear Red, if you are reading this, you've gotten out. And if you come this far, maybe you'd come a bit further. You remember the name of the town? Zihuatanejo. Could be a good man. I could use a good man to help me get my project on wheels. I'll keep an eye out for you and the chessboard ready. Remember, Red, hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good things ever dies. I'll be hoping that this letter finds you well. Your friend,
And
Andy.
yeah, it's such a good letter. It's like it's a lot of like development and friendship between Red and Andy just throws into like this letter and
For the
a
last
lot
20
of,
years.
yeah, a lot of subtext you can find it. It's like he just trusts him so much that he will be like, yeah, I think you gotta do it. And of course, because he's been like money laundering, so he's able to just write a few letters to get Morgan Freeman out of it.
And yeah, he knows like very well to hide the
Hide the
like
evidence.
hide the not
Hide
the
the
I mean like hiding
uh,
the rock under the tree, and then like also like keep a volcanic rock, something that's not something you find in a nature like that. Um, but it's not in a place that people would look unless you tell, Red. beforehand. Um, yeah, so his basic geography sense as well.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like it's a lot
mhm.
of stuff. It's like you just like a lot of the movie setup is just like it's like in your head. You didn't realize it until it's like, oh, because
Yeah,
it doesn't.
honestly, before I talk about the movie overall, just so just to close it out, he breaks his parole and he goes on a bus to go to Fort Hancock, Texas, and then eventually crosses the border into Mexico. And then he's admitting that now I used to think hope was stupid, but I can't lie, I definitely feel something right now, kind of a thing. And then yeah, it ends with the beach and is working on his boat. Red finds him, and they reunite and hug, and that's how it ends.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I know the
That's
ending.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's an addition in the movie. Like in the book, the book ends like basically the book ends like where the bus is. Like, I hope I'll be able to find my friend in like out there and see that Pacific Ocean, that beautiful ocean, all that stuff. Like the things that he told me about. That's where it ends, and it's a fine ending. Uh, and it makes sense. Like, oh, will he ever find Andy? Who knows? But yeah, I appreciate the movie because like just seeing two friends hug, it's good.
yeah, and it's I mean satisfying, and remember there's like he told him to go to like I don't know how to pronounce this word, Satonica.
I can't pronounce it either. Zuhuataneja, something like that.
Like some just a city in Mexico and stuff. So it's like he just narrows it down for him already.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like I think it's like one thing is like because like if you have an open ended thing, it's like, oh, will he find him? Maybe if there's another book, you'll be able to know for sure. But that's not. I mean, this isn't the era where like you had sequels like that, so it makes sense.
I mean,
And
open ended.
it feels like a more it feels like a good ending, especially after all the dark stuff that these guys had to go through.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's also like reasonable. It's like, and he just told him it's like just go to this city. That's basically what he told him. It's like, and you could literally just ask people in the city, and this city is this even a big city?
I mean, it's big, but he said he'll be on the beach, so that kind of narrows things down.
Mm.
Like
So
he says, he wants to build a hotel and work on a boat on the beach, so that kind of narrows things down at least,
yeah.
at the very least.
Oh, I just researched it. Apparently, it's like the fourth biggest city in Mexico, state of Goguryeo.
Yeah. I'm just saying the thing that narrows it down is like go to the beach and then you see the Pacific Ocean because it's right on the edge. Um, so that kind of narrows. I mean, it's still like a long distance of beach to go through, but I mean, he's running on hope. So
It's fine. I mean, I can believe he can just deal with it for like in a year he can find it.
mhm.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was the Shawshank Redemption.
yeah. One of the greatest movie of all time. You can't convince me of otherwise.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate it had to compete against Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump.
Wait, what? Those are the same movies that year.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ! No wonder it's not. I need to watch. It's which is better, Pulp Fiction or this movie? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Pulp Fiction. Fun fact.
I prefer this movie more, but I'm more into psychological movies in comparison. To be fair,
Yeah, I've never seen Pulp Fiction. So yeah.
shit, that's all you had to say. I know the memes of it, uh, especially Samuel L. Jackson, of course. Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
Tommy, yeah,
I mean, it got like Best Picture, Best Actor. Is that just nominations or just?
yeah, just nominations.
Fucking hell. There's like no. How the fuck is there no best fucking actor for?
Yeah, I'm looking here. Shawshank Redemption had critical acclaim upon release, particularly for the performances of, your two leads, Newman's score, the direction, the screenplay. But it was a failure at the time because it was competing against Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump. People don't really like prison films. There was barely any female characters. And even the title kind of confused audiences. Like, what is a Shawshank Redemption? I don't really get it. But
I
to
mean,
be fair, how do you explain Pulp Fiction?
how do you explain Forrest Gump?
Forrest
Fuck.
Gump. Yeah. So yeah, confused audiences. It went to receive nominations, but that was
That-
kind of like after the re-release, and then it eventually got more money because of the re-release.
Oh,
So that's why technically, so like for example, the box office now is 73.3 million. So and it was a budget of 25 million. That seems to be fine because now it seems like it made money, but no, that's the money now because they've re-released it a few times since
gee.
then, and that money just adds up each time. I'm not sure what the original stats was, but it only got 16 million during its theatrical run. Yeah. So 25 only got 16.
Oh, that makes sense. That's unfortunate.
But yeah, eventually like around like 2000 like 1997, 2015, like it's regarded as one of the most beloved films ever. Then the United States Library of Congress had put it in for the film's preservation as culturally, historically, aesthetically significant. It's regarded as one of the best films in history, kind of a thing.
I'm gonna be. I heard people talk more about the Shawshank Redemption than Forrest Gump. As much as I heard people think Forrest Gump is like really good.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forrest Gump is also based off a book too, so it's like I don't know. I feel like Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, they both have the same argument for what's a Forrest Gump? What's a Shawshank Redemption? I don't know.
It's like-
They're both
and
books.
and then Forrest Gump is just the character of the fucking character, the character's
Yeah.
name.
Mm-hmm. Pulp Fiction is original. I'll give it that. And Quentin Tarantino had a name for himself at this point.
But to be fair, that Forrest Gump is directed by Robert Zemeckis.
That's also true.
Yeah. Wait,
Frank
main
Darabont. I mean, I think prior to this, he did Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Fly 2. So different kinds of horror movies. He didn't. You know The Green Mile, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm tired, boss.
Yeah, it's like his like, and it's like
Another Stephen King book.
yeah, I was like, another film was like, what? This is Stephen King again?
I'm telling you, Stephen King is just like his psychological ones are usually his better ones. His horror ones are like it depends which one we're talking about.
It's like it's not even psychological. It's like the most. All he did is write drama for the Green Mile and the Shawshank Redemption. I was like, what the fuck? You can draw a lot of like themes in this movie, like about hope, institution, and like what makes a man tick. And should you live for freedom or should you live for just for security? And it's like there's a man deserve redemption after murder. It's like you got a lot of fucking themes or a lot of ideas and themes that communicate that's executed really well in this movie. and then the Green Mile is like, and then here's the thing: in the Green Mile, it's a lot of also about morality. Should you kill the God's creation? How evil is evil? It's like should murderers deserve a chance of redemption as well? Motherfucker, I think Stephen King's best work are literally just prison stories. Unless the adaptation changes like everything when it comes to Stephen King. Like The Shining.
in Stephen King's book about writing, he said in his exact words, "The editor is always right."
Jesus.
Uh
I guess he got rid of his editor.
yeah. No, I will say though, like I feel like with Stephen King overall, it's like it there are like some classics, and there are some films like you watch like you don't even realize it's Stephen King. It's interesting how that works.
Yeah, I was like, how many movies are made by Stephen King adaptations? This guy can write a book in like 6 books in a year or some reason.
Yeah, his frequency is off the charts.
Jesus. I mean, I know everyone knows The Shining. What fucking Carrie is by? Oh, of course Carrie is by him.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker, he made Carol's Game.
Yes.
Oh, I need to read them all. Oh, Shawshank Redemption. Okay,
Yeah, there's a lot of them where like they have like they've adapted them, and there's a lot of them that haven't been adapted yet. But like
yeah.
I don't know, for a guy who like hates when films go like off the script or like off book. By the way, he absolutely loves Shawshank Redemption. By the way, which isn't a surprise.
Yeah, because it stick to his books to a
It's
T.
it's it sticks to the book. Yeah, like I'd say like 98% of it. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's a great movie. So.
Yeah. I get what he means sometimes. Like, it's like you can still stay faithful to the book and keep to the themes of the book, but you can still kind of do some liberties here and there, but it's still on brand. Like, I think one of the bigger instances is like I think it's the music scene, to be honest, because like that music scene isn't there, but the music scene leads into the conversation of the hope conversation because of the harmonica mention. So yeah, it's like, even though that's not in the book per se, but like it is something that leads into the actual theme of the movie, which is finding hope in something that seems hopeless.
And
so
yeah. To be fair, like Stanley Kubrick is able to adapt The Shining, and almost everything has nothing to do with The Shining.
Yeah. And I also think it kind of works too, because like it gives you it gives you one time where you got punished for 2 weeks, so that when he gets punished for 1 month, it's like, oh, it's not that crazy of a difference. I mean, yeah, 4 weeks is crazy, but like he did 2 weeks before, 4 weeks.
And then you just add 4 more weeks. Yeah, and then add 4 more weeks before. So, remember, yeah, actually, you know what? It's fine. I need to look at how many fucking movies he got adapted. It's like 100 of them, I think. Oh, Christina's by him?
He's got a lot of TV shows too.
Oh yeah, I've seen the one he wrote. It's called it's like what, Lazy Story. And I could not understand a single thing in that show. I mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that show? Was like some girl. I was like, when I see the title Lazy Story, I thought it's like, about Lazy's story. It's not about Lazy's husband's story.
But it's like I guess one way to kind of think about it is like technically this story, like this movie is it's Andy's story, but it's not really Andy's story. It's Red's story using Andy's story as an example. So it's like, I guess like I'm saying as somebody who hasn't seen it, I'm just saying like I guess I could see somebody's confusion in terms of like Shawshank Redemption, for example, is like, oh, this is technically Andy's story, but it's not really, because it's in the perspective of Red. But it is hard. But like as you said, because the title of Lacey's story, then that's pretty self-explanatory. At least Shawshank Redemption, you don't have any expectations because the title isn't named like that.
Jeez. Oh my god. Huh, I guess. Oh my god, this guy made what this guy is the one who made the Dark Tower franchise.
Yes.
Are kidding me? 14 old, of course. This guy made everything. What show did he make? Oh my god, they're making a Christine remake.
Of
But the
course,
guy who, yep, they got the guy who made the Hannibal show. It's really bad, by the way. It's like one of the most overrated shows I've seen. Like, okay, not counting any before the MCU Phase 4 shit. I watched Hannibal, and I thought the Hannibal show is shit. It's like the most pretentious stuff I've ever seen in my entire life. With like a lot of dramatic wording that means absolutely nothing. And like Hannibal is only smart because everyone's like a fucking moron, and he's just good at everything for some reason.
you know the Running Man
Nope.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, I know that movie.
Mm-hmm. 1922.
Jeez.
Pet Cemetery. You should know that one.
Oh yeah, I know that's from Stephen King. Christine's about killing Car. I'm sorry. What year are we? Unless they're gonna adapt the Christine as that time period, I don't think they're gonna do it again.
Oh, Edgar Wright's doing the Running Man.
What?
I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
the
a remake, right?
yeah, the remake.
That
Motherfucker, that's
could
by
cook.
Stephen King.
That could cook because it's Edgar Wright.
Yeah, just. I mean, who's the co-writer anyways? Michael Bacall. He made 21 Jump Street. Scott versus the World. I love those. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it would be good.
2025 too.
Yeah. I'm not gonna watch Chris. I was like, have you seen Christine?
It's been a while. Oh, Katie O'Brien is in this movie. Oh, that's what Glenn Powell was in. I've heard a lot of the Running Man talk. I didn't, I'm so used to like hearing about random superhero movies now, like especially after Dave Patel's like Monkey Man. That I just
Yeah.
feel like the Running Man is like, oh, I think it's just another generic superhero movie. I forgot about Stephen King's Running Man book. So I didn't connect the dots. Yeah.
I didn't even know. I was like, how the fuck did you get that popular? I was like, oh, probably just Edgar Wright. And then I was like, oh, so that's why it got popular. It's from Stephen fucking King.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think this guy's nuts. But he can write. He can occasionally write good stuff.
Yeah. Christine. Why are they remaking it?
I don't even know. I don't even know anyone talking about Christine.
It's a cult classic.
Cult classic, my ass. I was like, Jesus. People say a lot of things are cult. I mean, I've seen what's it called, Point Blank, and that's also a cult classic, and I think it's shit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Here's his thoughts on Christine, the original. I may just be the most adapted novelist in modern times, but I don't say this with much pride so much as the kind of stunned bemusement. Several honorable adaptations have come in these 36 years. So he said this quote in 2003. And the best of those have had moments, a few elements of I'm best known for science fiction, fantasy, the supernatural, and pure gross out moments. The books that do have those elements have, by and large, become films that are either forgettable or outright embarrassing. Others, I'm thinking chiefly of Christine and Stanley Kubrick's take on The Shining, should have been good, but they aren't.
Are you fucking kidding me? The
They're
Shining
actually
is
they're actually sort of boring. Speaking for myself, I'd rather have bad than boring.
You kidding me? The Shining is literally the movie that people know from Stanley Kubrick. It's like one of the best horror movies of all time.
And he's saying Christine and Shining are the same caliber to him.
I was like, unless Christine's like really good, or the person is like really stupid. Oh, it's also directed by John Carpenter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a big name.
Yeah, it's like it's barely a boss. It only made back its budget.
All the Halloween films
Yep. Also the
and the
thing,
new ones.
the thing as well. The thing is
And
good.
the Thing. The Thing is good. Aren't they remaking The Thing?
The there's a
They-
there's a reboot. There's like a prequel for the thing already. So I'm not sure the thing. I need to look at it. Here's the thing: 1982 film is already a remake of the thing. It's just the one that people know. It's like the Invasion of a Body Snatcher. The one with Donald Sutherland is actually a remake. I've seen the 50s one. I never seen the Donald Sutherland. I haven't seen the Donald Sutherland one. Even that, the 50s one is amazing. I mean, I have problems with it, but it's like if people told me the Donald Sutherland one is actually better than this, I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna watch. This has to be better. Now, by the way, every Monday I study film and just discuss and just watch a lot of old movies. It's like every week I just study film. My teacher would just show some old movie. I have to discuss it for 2 hours. So I got used to talking about old movies. I love to talk about old movies that are good, and of course I insult movies that are bad. Don't watch MASH, the movie, not the show. So yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of our a little bit of a horror discussion.
Yeah.
There's Under the Dome, which is rapidly goes from great to awful. Is a Pet Cemetery, the movie from Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
They do mention Pet Cemetery in there.
The thing is
The
excellent.
Thing is
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah.
People don't know that's a remake as well, so that's a fun fact.
Yeah. Honestly, the Pet Cemetery line in Justice League was not bad because like it does kind of paint a picture of like what they were saying of
But yeah.
Superman might be evil if you bring him back to life. Pet Cemetery.
Wait, that's a fucking reference with Batman Thompson.
Yeah.
Jesus,
But that's stupid because you're pointing out something that people should know, subtext and all that stuff. So okay.
I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to know what Pet Cemetery is? It's not that iconic.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I feel like that's kind of an MCU quip too, kind of thing. Like where like Tony Stark just mentions like a bunch of like random movie references.
It's like that Tommy guy. I didn't remember he mentions Capone. I know who Capone is, but it's like, of course, but the thing is that actually characterizes him.
All right, take it easy, Lebowski.
Yeah.
The guy, Thor, who's crying, fat,
Jesus.
drunk, kind of a thing. But yeah, yeah, you know, there's a lot of.
Oh yeah.
We should
I mean,
talk about the Green Mile.
oh yeah, maybe I have to rewatch it. It was amazing. I loved it.
The Green Mile also has an anniversary this year. I think 1999, so it should be 25 years.
Jesus.
25-year anniversary. Yeah.
I mean, if we don't have anything to talk about, and yes, by the way, I've seen Arcane. I've seen the Penguin completely.
I have not seen Arcane, so I won't comment on that. I'm caught up with Penguin up until the finale. I will watch that later today.
Yeah.
But I pretty much re-binged all 7 episodes, and I was not bored at all, or tired, or anything.
I mean, do you know my hot take for that? I think it's like it's comparable to the best season of Daredevil.
Honestly, I think honestly, I people talk about 13 episode seasons, and I can appreciate a 13 episode season if it's well written and all that stuff, but I can very much appreciate a 8 episode well written season much more, in my opinion, because you can do the same amount of content in less time, and it's still just as good. So
Yeah, I think the fact that they made fucking Sophia Falcone, which I never heard of before, by the way, because as a person who doesn't read comics, I was like,
Mhm.
oh my god, you just made her one of the best villains of all time in DC. One of the best DC villains of all time.
Yeah. You know, as somebody who does talk about comics and stuff like that, Sophia, of course, isn't super accurate if I were to compare to like physical stature wise or like how she is like in that sense, but like that doesn't really take away from anything that Sophia has going on for her. I mean, and she's iconic for a good reason, and the fact that she is iconic is wild. Um, it just kind of goes to show that you can do so much with just good talent and good writing.
Yeah, I was
And
like, it's
I
like,
mean, somebody who's super hot helps as well.
yeah, it's like Stacey Johnson from Agents of Shield was like, who the fuck is I? It's like I don't even read the comics. Like, who the fuck is her? It's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, just made her the most very iconic.
Hmm.
It's,
I met her.
I mean, the fact that it made the Penguin like as iconic as like the Joker now was like, holy shit.
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like with the Penguin, and I just think the Batman universe in general is like you could definitely tell that that side just has like a lot, like there's like a team there, like there's like a unity there, no pun intended, and like how like you feel like there is like a general cohesion of like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, this is how our universe is gonna run, and all this stuff. And there's been a lot of comments about like, oh, but like it doesn't have my fantastical Batman. He's not fighting Killer Croc. He's not fighting Mr. Freeze. I was like, why? I've never understand why are people so obsessed about what's not there when it's like, first off, there's nothing indicating that we can't do that. I mean, you can expect that not to happen. That's one thing. But like, am I going to criticize like Iron Man in the MCU because he's never fought Radioactive Man? He's never fought like well, he never fought Crimson Dynamo. I mean, there's plenty of villains that Iron Man didn't fight that are from the comics, but like, there are so many villains out there. Sometimes you just can't expect an adaptation of all of them.
I mean,
It is what
sometimes
it is.
I don't. It's like sometimes the adaptation it's better than the original. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, fucking that's literally Stanley Kubrick's entire filmography.
Yeah. Uh, like Sophia, for example, Sophia is very different from her comic counterpart, but like I think they're both good for two different reasons. Is kind of my thing. Um,
You have to imagine this. They fucking made a show that no one cares about. Like, okay, original I don't even care about, even though
Penguin show, yeah.
It was like, why would you make a spin off of the Penguin? And it's like, oh, who's the fan? I was like, oh, this girl no one knows from the comics. I was like, okay, just you have to be in the mindset of people who never read the comics. And then I was like, okay. And then they instantly made her like the fucking like on the tier of like what? I don't want to say
Catwoman.
Kingpin. Oh, Catwoman, yeah. I think she's
Well,
like the best villain of like the
Ivy.
entire.
I think Ivy more than Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this girl was like the best villain of the entire, not villain, I was like antagonist of the entire Matt Reeves franchise already. Like that's insane. I just don't know how to call the I just don't know how to call the Penguin because the Penguin is technically the protagonist of the show. So it's just they're the same level when it comes to writing quality.
Honestly, I like all the villains, all of them, and they're all different though, and that's what I appreciate too, because like they're all good in their own way, and they don't feel the same. They don't feel like a reskin of somebody else, which I've always had this issue with the MCU, at least particularly recently, but like how so much of it is just like, you're just a different hero, but like a new like coat of armor paint or like some other costume or some other superpower, but like your personality is the same. You guys like do the same things. Like it's kind of it's like it gets boring on that side. But like here, like I feel you can feel the variety of everybody, and I feel like everybody is good at what they do and for what they are known for. So I've always appreciated that aspect of
Yeah.
at least this universe so far, of course. But man, October 2026 is a crazy time to wait for the next part.
Hey, to be fair, I think that Matt Reeves just removed like 2 projects. I was like, okay, I think I can understand if they want to just make one good project instead of just quantity over quality. It's fine for me.
Yeah. My only thing about that particular comment in particular is that they are very different in terms of like what you could do with the topic that, like if we're talking about a GCPD show, a Arkham Asylum show. Like these things aren't like these things are very different from each other that like you could theoretically do like work on one or the other and like do something with them. And like it shouldn't interrupt anything else because like especially Arkham Asylum, because like Arkham Asylum is like you can't really have Batman in there anyway, like at least outside of a cameo maybe. But yeah, I mean it makes sense for a whole facility to be operated under the one guys. But my only downside with that, of course, is like I don't know what you would want to focus on. I mean, there's plenty of stories that focuses strictly on Arkham Asylum only, and there's plenty of comics that focuses on the GCPD more. And then and I feel like GCPD is probably more palatable in terms of like trying to do something that is at least incorporating Gotham and incorporating things like outside aspects and iconographies of the Reeves verse into the show like that. Whereas Arkham Asylum is confined um, in that sense. So there's pros and cons, but I mean, as long as it's good writing, I don't really mind what are the options are given. But yeah, I I still feel like, but yeah, I'm not gonna force like Matt Reeves to do something he doesn't want to do, or if he feels like there's no reason to put too much on this aspect. But he did say he wants to do spinoffs, like other spinoff ideas. So at least it's still on the table.
Yeah. And
Catwoman.
Catwoman. Ugh. Catwoman. Maybe I'm not sure. It just depends on what story they're gonna tell. But because I know the final episode, I'm not gonna say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I say that they should do a story. I don't know what they technically don't have to do any story about pre-existing characters. They can just make up a story about John Goodman in Gotham, and his story is about him being
Oh, he used to voice Sully.
oh wait,
Yeah, you just
I just
you mentioned John Good.
I'm just making up a random name.
If I didn't tell you
Yeah.
somewhere will
So
never know you.
okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah,
So basically, it's like he just tried to do. So he's just an old guy living in Gotham, and he just look at the window about how he feels the world. You can make a short story out of it.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. It's like after watching Banshees of Inisherin, it's like I wanted to see uh Brendan Gleeson so bad in the Penguin. I know
No,
it was
fuck
yeah,
Joker too. Fucking hell.
yeah, but they put him in Joker too. It's crazy.
It's like, oh yeah, what a waste of talent. Uh, I mean, I think they changed.
He's in Gotham. He's just in the wrong one.
Wait, which one?
Like he's in Gotham, like the Joker's Gotham,
Oh,
not Matt Reeves' Gotham.
yeah. Don't worry. A lot of people in fucking or like Joker 2 for some reason. The like I think what's it called? Uh, it's an evil endeavor. She's also in Joker 2. Evil Endeavor. Oh, he's he's gotta be in Spider Noir.
Spider Noir. I'm so confused. Why the fuck is that getting a show? I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm not gonna turn it down. It's Nick Cage. I get it and all, but like,
to be fair, I think that's the only
I'm
reason that
so
Nick
confused what Sony is wants to do. But to be fair too, it's not Sony making this call. It's Amazon making this call.
and also the fact that I think it's because this show, Nick Cage decided not to return as Ghost Rider in Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah.
Thank God. I was like, oh, if they bring him back, I was like, I need to rewatch the two movies again and just like tell you what the fuck how they screw his character over again.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with the Arcane breakdown. If
Oh.
if it's better to do it in the acts, like the parts individually, or like wait for all of it to drop. It
I'm gonna
seems
be
like
honest.
a wait for all of it to drop kind of show.
I'm gonna be honest here. I've seen 2 episodes. I don't really have much to say. That's insane. It's fucking Arcane.
I was just hoping that, like, because they said long ago that this is only a 2-season show. Like, it's not going to be multiple seasons. So it's like, okay, you guys have a beginning and an ending. So
Well, fuck that. I think they only have 1 season planned after this.
yeah, but then again, it's like you got Joker 2. Yeah, I intended this to be a 2-film series. Which again, I actually, and I've said this before, I really don't mind having a 2-part story. I don't think you need to do a trilogy sometimes. But if you want to do a 2-part story, just make sure you do that 2-part justice.
And
And
yeah. So yeah. I mean, it's a Spider Noir story. It's fine. It's not part of anything.
unless they just decide to make it like across the Spider-Verse canon, which technically they could, because Across the Spider-Verse includes a wide range of multiverse.
Oh my. Yeah, I need to look at a lot of 2 parts. Two movies are 2 parts. I was like, that's justified in 2 parts. Okay, none of them are.
I'm not gonna count like Deathly Hollows or Mockingjay, because like it's one book. They decided to make 2 parts
It's just fucking money.
for money.
I don't think any 2-part movies ever work. There's probably some of them. I just don't remember what.
People argue Infinity War and Endgame, but like I don't know, it's hard to call it a 2-parter when it's part of a franchise.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Oh no, it chapter 2 is shit.
Yeah, and the second half of the book is not good either.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, it's just like, it was just it's better with the kid versions of the characters, minus that weird orgy scene.
Yeah.
Orgy scene, yeah.
Oh shit! Kill Bill. Yeah, that's a good 2 parts.
That's a good 2-parter.
Yeah, I think that's the only good 2 parts.
I'm sure Toy Story 5, 4 and 5 will be that 2-parter.
Oh my god, I hate my life. I mean, I remember like even Disney Channel movies like Team Beach and Team
Yeah,
Beach.
I can at least appreciate Toy Story 5, Toy Story 4 trying to do something different. Like in terms of like it's like at least for like a villain kind of a thing. I can at least give it some credit for trying. This one is like, why don't we do like an army of Buzz Lightyears, but they're all program evil like the one from Toy Story 3.
I was like, that's batshit insane.
It's like, bro, you just combined 2 Buzz Lightyear ideas from Toy Story 2 and 3 and made that the villains of the movie. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I can at least Gabby's tried.
I mean, it's shit.
It's shit, but they tried something. I guess trying is bad. Let's just bring back something that people know.
Pretty much.
And I really did want to talk about those Marvel trailers. Back when they had those. I feel like
I still haven't seen it. I don't really care. I still haven't seen it yet. This is how much I don't care. Actually, we still have those trailers now. The Brave New World.
We have recent trailers of Thunderbolts and
Brave New World. Brave New
Brave New
World.
World.
I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I'm not really sure what to say, honestly, with those, because like I feel like with Brave New World in particular, it's just so distracting how Sam looks so out of place in this entire movie, and not because I really don't care if he's Captain America. That's not my thing. And I need people to stop acting like that's the only point when people say that. My problem is like, why the fuck are there so much Hulk stuff in a Captain America movie? It's so stupid.
No, I mean I was more distracted the fact that they're stupid about it.
Is that too? And it's like also like Sam's like so OD in terms of like his vibranium suit could do anything. Like he's practically Black Panther, but like he has wings, because like the way he tanks stuff, the way he can like slam his body down on the ground and not feel any pain. It's bizarre. I mean, you've seen some of the GIFs, even if you haven't seen the that we sent in the chat, even if you haven't seen the trailer. The way he lands on the ground, like with a sonic wave, and like he lands on his foot like awkward. I don't know, why would you do it that way? It's so weird.
I was like this film was like 400 million for some reason. So I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But trust me, I mentioned that the Joker 2 budget is 200 million, and everyone was like, and my friend was like, wait, what? 200 million? I was like, yeah. He's seen Joker 2, by the way, and he can't tell it's 200 million. Budget.
Yeah. I can tell it's more than Joker 1, but I can't tell it's 200 million. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, to be fair, they pay like 20 million for.
But it's weird too, because like there's more sets and more scene locations in Joker 1 than there is in Joker 2. But I can still feel like Joker 2 has more money. But I think it's probably because of the dance sequences and the music sequences. I think that kind of helps.
You're kidding me? Those sequences only take place in one room.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, but there's still like a lot of color and costume and stuff like that. Those add up the budget. The lighting.
Fair, those are like real. No offense, as a person who does music theater, I was like, do you know how little that costs?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there was one explosion scene in Joker 2.
It's not even the fucking Greatest Showman. It's like they actually use location really well because of song sequences. Like, ever seen The Greatest Showman? So,
yes.
So yeah, understand what I'm talking about. How much is the Greatest Showman budget, anyways?
It's probably
84 million.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers.
Yeah. Oh, and then Thunderbolt's just ragtag team of guys just gotta truck through. Something bad's gonna happen.
I still haven't seen the trailers, so oh well.
Yeah. There's like no color. Everything is gray and dull and boring.
Okay.
Yeah. I was seeing this comparison shot of like these guys they're standing around in New York, kind of like posing like how they did in Avengers 1, and the color contrast is insane.
Yay. Do you know what's even better? The 6 other shows releasing next year. What if season 3? We gotta have fucking Pacific
That's coming out
Rim.
this year.
We gotta have fucking Pacific Rim. Don't remind me to finish Agatha.
Yeah, what if ends the year basically. The last 8 episodes will be like pretty much the last 8 days of the year.
8 episodes? They did like 9 episodes in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, this year it's 8.
Fucking hell.
It'll drop on the 22nd, then go all the way to the 30th.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to justify fucking Pacific Rim.
But the thing is, like, they put Storm in there. What if Storm is Thor?
I was like, okay. Imagine someone who's never watched anything and just watched the MCU. I was like, who's Storm? Oh yeah, he's the guy who got mentioned in Deadpool Wolverine. I was like, okay, that doesn't tell me anything.
But it's like, even then, it's like like Storm is Thor. She controls the. I know, and people have said this all the time on Twitter, and I know Storm. Yes, Storm has held Mjolnir before. Yes, she has been a Thor before. That's not really my issue. It's like, why the fuck is she in a What If season 3? She hasn't been introduced in the MCU. She hasn't done anything. She's been like mistreated so much in so many iterations of herself. So it's like, I get it. It just looks cool, but I don't know what was the benefit of putting her there. And then it's like, then you just wonder, okay, so if we have Storm here, what about some of these other mutants and some of these other characters? Or we just introduce them in cartoons and that counts? That's your adaptation of the character. That's really stupid.
Yay, Marvel! How much does a penguin cost? Jesus Christ!
Hold on. Speaking of which, season 1 story was heavily done by Ash Brannon, who was the co-writer of Toy Story 2. He was also the writer of season 1, episode 3 of the show. He is not involved in season 1. Do you mean season 2? Yeah, they do have an episode of Kate Bishop being a cowgirl.
You sure that's not from Marvel Zombies?
No, it's not zombies. It's not zombies.
What if episode 3 titles?
I don't know if they dropped them yet, but what I saw is like, what if Marvel heroes were mechas? What if Marvel heroes are cowboys? I mean, like, it's so annoying too, because like Marvel has like characters that have like mechas in them. Marvel has characters that have cowboys and westerns and old western type of superheroes from the 50s and 60s and all that stuff that they could probably use, like Colt, Carter Slade, the original Ghost Rider. I mean, honestly, I'd prefer Ghost Rider in the cartoon over Storm, in my opinion. But like, that's a different conversation, because at least he's in Agents of Shield, and then you can like try to like justify putting a Ghost Rider in animation. At least that just makes sense to me than like doing a bullshit like putting out Storm. But like, okay, it's obviously a nitpick.
Of course, I need to look at what are they trying to do.
Yeah.
I know one episode title. What if Go Avengers Heroes of the Gamma War? Is that some comic reference?
What?
Go Avengers Heroes of the Gamma War. That's one of the titles.
Oh, that's gotta be the mecha one.
Yep. I was like, I think someone watched too much Pacific Rim. And they think like,
it's the mech one.
Like, what the fuck is that title?
Episodes will include Red Guardian centered episode, which features Bucky Barnes, Bill Foster, and Ranger Morales. That was originally intended to be in season 2. An anime-inspired Go Avengers, Heroes of the Gamma War, Avengers anime kind of thing. And they fight a bunch of Mega Hulk monsters. Cool. That's going to have Captain America, Sam, Red, Black Widow, Guardian, Shang-Chi, Monica Rambeau, Moon Knight, Shuri, Melina Vosk. Yeah, the justifying our Phase 4 characters season. And then there's an episode featuring...
An episode centered around...
a musical number with Agatha.
An episode... Oh, no, okay, that's even... I found an even worse one. An episode centered around a galactic battle of the bands, where villains and heroes are all competing. Judged by... if you don't know, it's Kiss. Kiss is a band from real life. And let's just say there's a reason why no one knows them. Was special for this season.
Nobody knew them for decades. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, even don't you don't tell me because they're old. Everyone knows the Beatles.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're more iconic than the I mean, the Beatles are more iconic, of course.
Yeah, like who the fuck
But
is Kiss? I never.
I remember when Fairly Odd Parents used Beatles as like one of their episodes.
Hey, remember when because everyone knows about the Beatles? I'm like, I mean, look at the Kiss now. It's like there's some edgy rock band.
Kiss was in like in a lot of like cartoons, like especially in the '90s and early 2000s. I don't know, like I guess the craze of them was like crazy. I guess it's because of the way that they look. Their dress and costume just looks cool in that
Uh,
time frame.
Name a song from Kiss without looking at the list, without looking up anything.
I don't know songs in general, so it's not a fair question.
I thought you study music.
I play music, like piano, violin. I don't listen to music like that.
Jeez, I mean, name a song from Beatles. You know songs from Beatles, right?
I'm sure I do. I'm just blanking right now.
Oh,
I had a 12 hour thing over the weekend at the store.
fair.
I'm
I
kind of
think
gassed right now as well. Should probably wrap this up in 4 minutes.
yeah, let's wrap this up. It's oh, all right. They cast the character from like the actress from Fantastic Four to voice a Birdie. I'm not even gonna fucking bother with the
Oh,
name.
it's just Birdie. It's just Birdie.
Birdie.
It was just kind of funny to me because like she looks exactly like Siren, who's a Marvel mutant, and they have a Marvel mutant in the show already for Storm. So, what's the difference of adding Siren? But it is what it is.
No, absolutely nothing.
I can understand Kahori. I mean that I can understand the attempt of doing that, but like Birdie's that's kind of weird to me.
So I mean, I whatever. I don't even give a shit anymore. Uh, to be fair, they can somehow character assassinate characters like inconsistent already. If you remember, like fucking, was like, how the fuck do you assassinate? Like what Wenwu was like. All you need to do is not make him a fucking good guy.
This is my other thing too. Is like the way that What If was framed is like What If has always been framed like what if we went through the exact same events of the MCU, but this is the one thing that changes. How does everything change because of this one change? That's usually how it works. But the thing here is like they change everything, including before and after this change was made. So it's like you don't even feel any sort of cohesion in terms of like, is this supposed to be like what if something in the MCU changed? But I also understand that like, sometimes what ifs are like just straight up it's different in this universe. Like everything is different in this universe. I mean, I guess, but then at that point, it's just an alternate universe where everything is different. That this what if change doesn't really mean anything. Like, what exactly could there possibly be a what if scenario where all the superheroes turn into mechas?
I was like, apparently there's a bunch of Hulk monsters. So,
and what is the one change that changes everything?
I don't know what.
That's the thing I don't understand. And the problem too is like a lot of these like what if episodes like have even the simple things like they don't get like, oh, it's like what if Steve was shot and Captain Carter had to be the Captain America, essentially Captain Britain. I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's a plausibility that maybe she does become the captain person if Steve was to be shot. He should have died. Right.
I mean,
so
and they built a fucking max suit in that fucking year, 1940s. Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like even some of their simpler what if episodes are like they overcomplicate them for some reason.
I was like, they just want cool action. I was like, remember season 2? I was like, oh, dude, I think the most interesting ideas are like, from the background that no one realized. I was like, what if the world instead of what if Iron Man meet the Grandmaster? I was like, what if Iron Man didn't make it to the portal and everyone has to grieve him? I was like, that's much more interesting.
Yeah, oh right. That Iron Man one is like instead of focusing on that aspect of how does Earth react to Iron Man being gone, it's just Iron Man is on Ragnarok.
I was like, I don't think
And
anyone
now
wants
he
to
has to
know.
do like a race car driving
Well,
against
and yeah.
Gamora.
Oh, hey, remember like there's an episode like with continue Captain Carter story? I was like, wait, dude, I want to see what if Bucky survives? Like, hey, can we see how fucking Bucky reacts with what if Bucky survived but Steve died? That would be a much more interesting. I was like, he could react to the world differently and stuff.
It's like, and this is the last season too. Like, there's no more seasons after this What If season. And the
Mm.
fact that there has not been a single one of what if the other half survived the blip, that's like the easiest one to try and do. But like the fact that that can't even be an option is crazy.
Yep. I mean, it's like instead of that one, let's just have what if Iron Man met Killmonger in Iron Man 1? I was like, yeah, I'm sure everyone know what cares about that idea, right? Right. Oh, who the fuck would think of that as a good idea? But hey, but what if it's like sometimes they have decent ideas. Like what if Ultron won? I was like, yeah, cool idea. And then what did they do with that?
They turned him into God.
Why?
To the point where the Watcher has to break the multiverse to get superheroes from different universes to fight as a group of Avengers. And it's like, dude, so you're saying that What If is a alternate universe in the MCU. So technically speaking, the Watcher can just drag superheroes from the quote unquote 616 universe, because I'm not gonna call it that. And
Just call it Secret Timeline.
but yeah, but now it's like, it doesn't deserve the secret timeline because like, apparently the secret timeline can never be pruned or destroyed. Only branching ones can be destroyed like that because Deadpool said so.
To be
So
fair,
yeah.
that's a low key, but oh well. Don't worry, that they Loki and Deadpool Wolverine doesn't have any connections. I mean, and that's not not in a good way.
So Shawshank Redemption.
Great movie, amazing movie, one of the best movies of all time.
Happy 30 years.
Happy 30 years. Go rewatch it if you haven't. If not, what the fuck? What are you? If you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you doing? Just watch it.
We'll probably talk about the Green Mile, maybe in
Someday.
December.
Maybe someday, because I don't think we have a love plan, right?
Yeah, but it's also like the 25th anniversary to give some credit to that movie.
Maybe.
But as Michael Clark Duncan used to say, I'm tired, boss. So
yeah. Rest in peace, Michael Clark Duncan.
yeah. Henry, say goodbye to the people.
Yeah, goodbye. Yeah, school starts. Tired, busy. I hate my life. Hey,
Yeah.
university.
I've been really trying to get one video out by the end of this year, and it's been kicking me in the ass just to get it done. But I really hope I can get it out by the end of the year. I'm hoping till Christmas at the latest, December 31st, New Year's Eve. But I'm really trying. But I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate everything we've done. We've done our 49th episode of another Review Score podcast, meaning the next one is a big one, a big special number. And we hope that will be engaging, exciting, and we'll have some guests on for the discussion about the Penguin. So yeah, keep a lookout for that, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Goodbye, everybody.